Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, God King of All Realms. Start by summoning angels. Chapter 61. Let's go. Return to the burial ground. The Skeleton King, Lane, didn't want to stay any longer. Watching the enemy's strength continuously increase while having no effective countermeasures was a very uncomfortable feeling. It also wanted to withdraw the undead creatures from the battlefield to avoid sending a large amount of primal force, which could enhance the enemy's level. But it couldn't do it. Under normal circumstances, it could indeed command these undead creatures. But at night, its control would be greatly weakened. Especially when in a state of battle, it couldn't command these undead creatures at all because the supreme power of rules controlled them at this time. Not only these low-level undead creatures, but it was also restricted by the supreme rules. Last night, it wanted to destroy this territory. But it couldn't do it either. Because the supreme rules prohibited any native creature from attacking an overlord force that hadn't reached the town level. Only when the territory upgraded to a town would the supreme rules lift the restrictions. At that time, it would also be the starting point of a full-scale war. For now, it could only watch the enemy's strength continue to increase. It had just thought about taking action, killing the winged creatures appearing on the battlefield and the howling local trader goblins without directly attacking the enemy's territory. But the enemy didn't give it the opportunity. There were many winged creatures scattered around the battlefield area. They stood tall in the night sky, monitoring everything nearby. Even though it was a king-level creature, it couldn't silently approach the battlefield. If it approached, it would definitely be discovered by those beautiful winged creatures. Then, the situation would be the same as last night. The enemy forces on the battlefield would retreat back to their territory. And it would have made the trip for nothing. So, instead of wasting time here and making itself uncomfortable, it would be better to return to the burial ground and think carefully about the next strategy. The Skeleton Knight was a bit slow-witted. Combined with the previous mention of moving, when it heard the Skeleton King, Lane, say to return to the burial ground, it quickly asked, "My king, are we really moving?" The burial ground had been managed by the Skeleton King, Lane, for many years. Countless creatures' bones were buried there. It was filled with a strong necromantic power everywhere. For undead creatures, the burial ground was a true paradise. It didn't want to leave. Move what? The Skeleton King, Lane, glared at the foolish Skeleton Knight and said with a powerful voice, "Of course, we're going back to seal off the entrance to the underworld and prevent any surface creatures from approaching." "My king is wise." The skeleton mage on the side quickly flattered and suggested, "If possible, my king can also form an alliance with those arrogant dark elves. By leveraging the power of the dark elf tribe, we can seal off the entrance together. As soon as that overlord from the other world dares to send his army one step into the entrance, we'll deliver a fatal blow to him. We can't control what happens in the surface world. But the underworld will always be my king's domain." "Well said." The Skeleton King, Lane, nodded approvingly at the skeleton mage. Compared to the foolish Skeleton Knight, the skeleton mage was much more pleasing to its eyes. Not only was it highly intelligent, but it also occasionally came up with practical suggestions, helping it improve its strategies. This made it very satisfied. Just now, it had only thought about sealing off the entrance to the underworld. It hadn't thought about joining forces with the Dark Elf tribe. Now that the skeleton mage brought it up, it suddenly felt that this plan was very good. After all, the growth speed of that overlord from the other world was too terrifying. The next time they met, it might not be a match for it. If they had the help of the Dark Elf tribe, it would give them more confidence. "We may be undead, but Dark Elves are not much better. As members of the evil faction and longtime neighbors, I believe we have a good chance of forming an alliance with the Dark Elf tribe." Upon hearing this, the skeleton mage quickly said, "As long as our king personally intervenes, the plan to join forces with the Dark Elf tribe will surely succeed." "Agreed." Skeleton King Lane nodded slightly. As a king-level powerhouse, it still had some face. At this moment, the Skeleton Knight asked again, "My king, with your strength, you can easily intimidate that otherworldly overlord and prevent them from setting foot in the underworld. Why do we need to cooperate with those despised dark elves?" The skeleton giant bear sitting beside it also shook its head, seemingly unable to understand. The skeleton giant bear had no flesh on its body, only a skeletal frame, but its round and plump body made it look somewhat cute with a touch of darkness. Meanwhile, sensing the spiritual thoughts transmitted by the skeleton knight, the emerald green soul fire hidden beneath the helmet of Skeleton King Lane trembled. Could it be that it was afraid of that otherworldly overlord and worried that it couldn't handle it alone? Of course not, because it was the king. So it was angry, with an impulse to slap the skeleton knight to death. Not saying what should be said and asking unnecessary questions. On the other hand, the skeleton mage was perceptive and guessed what Skeleton King Lane was thinking. It also noticed that Skeleton King Lane had entered a state of anger. It was possible that in the next moment, it would kill the skeleton knight with 2 strikes and swallow its soul fire. It quickly reprimanded the skeleton knight. Foolish bear knight, with our king's strength, of course, we can intimidate that otherworldly overlord. As for joining forces with the Dark Elf tribe, it is only to weaken their power and prepare for the future annihilation of the Dark Elf tribe. Do you understand? Oh, I see. The skeleton knight suddenly realized, admiringly said, our king is truly wise. Skeleton King Lane. Skeleton Mage. Soon, Skeleton King Lane led a group of high-level undead to retreat from this area and quickly disappeared from the surface world. This night battle lasted until after 2 o'clock in the morning. The reason was that the battle was too intense, causing the angels' magical power to be almost completely depleted, forcing them to retreat to their territory. Besides, there was a new journey tomorrow. They needed enough time to recover their magical power. The method for angels to restore their magical power was simple, not through magical meditation, but through prayer to the Lord. During the process of prayer, the angels' consumed magical power would be quickly replenished. In Ayata's words, this was the Lord's favor. After this war, the angels also made great progress. They killed over 10,000 undead creatures of different levels on the battlefield, allowing each angel to receive a huge reward of primal force. By the end of the war, all the angels had more or less advanced in level. Some angels achieved a leap in different levels. For example, most of the 2-winged angels summoned today advanced to level 6. Some angels made progress in their minor realms. For example, 4-winged angel Myralda, Maureen, and Maddie all advanced from the early stage of level 7 to the middle stage of level 7. As for 4-winged grand angel Elena, she used the advantage of the holy light magic to kill a large number of undead creatures on the battlefield. Her level made a greater breakthrough. Now, she had reached the late stage of level 7, and the next step would be level 8. The goblins who participated in the battle also benefited greatly, with their levels and combat power soaring. Overall, this war raised the overall strength of Lin Yu's territory to a new level. The overall scale of the troops did not change much, but their combat power became stronger than before. In addition, there were the spoils of war. Looking at the battlefield covered in white bones, there were scattered dazzling gold coins, like stars in the night sky. Without any surprises, there would definitely be equipment and blueprints dropped. Compared to those combat professionals and overlords who were forced to hide and dare not set foot in the dark world, Lin Yu had unlocked another fruitful night. The next morning, Lin Yu woke up early. Although he had only slept for a few hours, he felt very energetic and not at all tired. Perhaps it was because of his increased strength. His energy recovered exceptionally fast. This made Lin Yu wonder if, once promoted to the transcendent level, professionals could stay awake for long periods of time. After becoming a god, would they no longer need to sleep at all? Most likely, if nothing unexpected happened. He got dressed, washed up, and tidied the bedding. Just as he finished, a beautiful figure knocked on the door and walked in at the right time. Master, this is breakfast prepared for you. 4-winged Grand Angel Elena respectfully handed a tray to Lin Yu. Today's breakfast was no different, consisting of fresh fruits, grilled meat, and honey water mixed with forest wild honey. The angels collected the fresh fruits and honey when they went out hunting. The lush forest was rich in resources and not lacking in these things. Even solo professionals only needed to put in a little effort to avoid starving in these mountains. What they needed to worry about was whether they would die under the claws of wild monsters in the wilderness. Who grilled the meat today? While eating the juicy grilled meat, Lin Yu looked at 4-winged Grand Angel Elena standing respectfully by his side. Unlike other angels, Elena exuded a gentle aura all over her body. In her every move, she displayed the utmost tenderness. It was as if no matter how she was bullied or mistreated, she would not resist and would be extremely obedient, allowing people to do whatever they wanted. This was very attractive. At least, Lin Yu liked it very much. Upon hearing Lin Yu's question, Elena quickly replied, "Master, I tried grilling some meat beasts myself, but I'm not very skilled. If you don't like it, I can change it immediately." Lin Yu smiled and said, "No need for that. I meant to say that today's grilled meat tastes better than yesterday's. Thank you for your praise." The tense expression on Elena's beautiful cheeks slowly relaxed. Compared to Lin Yu's blame, what she cared more about was whether she had served Lin Yu well. As angels, it was their duty to serve the Lord of Holy Light. No matter what they did, as long as they could gain the recognition of the Lord of Holy Light, these angels would be satisfied. And now, Lin Yu's praise for the breakfast she made her very happy. "It's a pity there are no vegetables." "Master, what are vegetables?" Elena asked with some confusion. As sacred beings born from the angel reincarnation pool, angels did not eat grains or drink sweet springs. They only needed to pray daily to replenish their bodies with comprehensive energy. Naturally, she had no idea what vegetables were. Lin Yu explained, "Edible leafy green plants. Rolling grilled meat in lettuce leaves was a perfect match." Unfortunately, there were no such things on the floating island. Seeing Elena fall into silence, seemingly thinking about where to find these edible leafy green plants, Lin Yu waved his hand with a smile and said, "Don't worry about it, I just mentioned it casually." Compared to those combat professionals on the island who had to drink dew when thirsty and eat grasshoppers when hungry, his breakfast was already very abundant. Even if some combat professionals could eat similar food, they had to do it themselves. Unlike him, who didn't have to do anything. When he woke up, a gentle and beautiful angel would appear and serve him wholeheartedly. What else could he be dissatisfied with? The days he spent were definitely envied by countless professionals on the island. After finishing breakfast, Lin Yu took Elena down to the first floor of the Hall of the Overlord. The scene before him seemed familiar. Right, it was the same as yesterday morning. Just like yesterday, the first floor was also piled up with a large number of spoils, and there were even more than yesterday. There were over 1,000 gold coins alone. In addition, there were a dozen pieces of equipment and several blueprints emitting golden light. Among these, Lin Yu also saw a green package. "What is this?" Lin Yu was very surprised. It was the first time he had seen a package-type loot. Elena beside him said, "Master, I checked. The package contains some crop seeds." "Seeds? That must be spirit rice without a doubt." As Lin Yu spoke, he walked over. Before he even opened the green package, the information had already appeared in his field of vision. 10 units of spirit rice seeds. Subject: common grain. Level: Level 1. Growth period: 7 days. Introduction: this is the most common type of grain crop that can provide the basic food needs for your subjects. With it, your subjects can also eat rice. Note 1. Planting 1 unit of spirit rice seeds can yield 1,000 units of spirit rice. Note 2. Upgrading the spirit field can accelerate the growth speed of spirit rice and other crops, increase yield, and enhance mutation probability, etc. Spirit rice quotes. That's right, it's you. Put away your disdainful look. Eating meat can make you a professional. This is an incredibly true legend. 10 units of spirit rice seeds. So, if I plant all of them in the spirit field, I can get 10,000 units of spirit rice after 7 days. Lin Yu didn't know how many kilograms 10,000 units of spirit rice would be. He had never seen what mature spirit rice looked like. These seeds in front of him were just seeds, and under the supreme rules, they were inedible. But he believed that it must be a lot. After all, it was a whole 10,000 units. If it were 10,000 units of beast meat, it would be enough for 1,000 goblins to eat for several months. Furthermore, upgrading the spirit field can actually accelerate the growth speed of crops, increase yield, and enhance mutation probability. This is not described in the information about the spirit field. Lin Yu decided that when he planted the spirit rice later, he would try to upgrade the spirit field. The spirit field was a special building. Upgrading it required spending gold coins, but no other basic resources were needed. To upgrade from level 1 to level 2, it required 200 gold coins. This was mentioned in the information. He put down the package containing the spirit rice seeds. Lin Yu, accompanied by the four-winged Grand Angel Elena, came outside the hall of the Overlord. Looking around, he saw one fully equipped angelic squad after another had completed their assembly. Myralda, Maureen, and Maddie, the four-winged angels at the war level, stood at the forefront of the formation, with Ayada, who had been promoted to level 8 last night, and the petite and lovely Sally behind them. In the rear, there were over 200 angels, standing in neat and straight lines. Each angel was fully armed, wearing uniform silver-white angelic armor, wielding golden-flamed angelic swords, and with a pair of snow-white angelic wings on their backs. The rising morning sun shone on them, giving them a sacred golden radiance. The whole scene was very impressive. At a glance, each angel had a beautiful face and an impressive figure. However, there was no trace of weakness as a female creature on them. These beautiful angels were all full of heroic spirit and fighting intent. Their will was as unyielding as their firm beliefs. They had never feared any enemy. My lord, the four-winged Grand Angel Elena, who had been walking beside Lin Yu, respectfully said, yesterday afternoon, based on information provided by a goblin believer, we successfully located the exact position of the Greyland dwarf tribe. My lord, rest assured, with our strength, we will easily conquer this local stronghold. The Greyland dwarf tribe, a local stronghold also guarded by level 9 professionals. It was easy for the current angelic squad. Lin Yu nodded slightly, he had confidence in his angels. Go, bring back all the resources from the Greyland dwarf tribe. As for the Greyland dwarves in the tribe, you can handle them as you see fit. Yes, great lord of holy light. The four-winged Grand Angel Elena respectfully obeyed the order. When dealing with local intelligent creatures that did not belong to the evil camp, the angelic race always gave two choices for their fate. Believe in the Lord and gain eternal life. Do not believe in the Lord, be a heretic, and must be purified. This was the eternal and unchanging way of the angelic race in warfare. Soon, the angels set off collectively. Led by the four-winged angels, the more than 200 two-winged angels flapped their angelic wings and rushed into the sky, quickly disappearing into the distant horizon. It could be seen that they were heading straight for the mountain several kilometers away. At the same time, two goblin teams that had been on standby also left the territory. The goblin troops went out for hunting. As for the goblin believer team led by the level 8 goblin leader Bard, they were marching on foot towards the Greyland dwarf tribe. Their task was to transport the spoils captured by the angelic squad back. In a moment, in the vast territory, there were only Lin Yu and over 100 ordinary goblin followers left. The daily work of these goblin followers was to decompose the corpses of monsters brought back by hunting teams. The daily working hours were over 12 hours. They were definitely tired. But there was no other way. Because the number of monsters hunted every day was simply too many. At least over 5,000. If they didn't work for at least 12 hours, they wouldn't be able to decompose all the monster corpses. If they left the decomposition for the next day, the workload would only increase and they would never finish. I need more followers, Lin Yu muttered to himself. He wasn't just trying to reduce the workload for these goblin followers. The main reason was that with the overall strength of the angel combat teams and goblin teams increasing, the daily hunting harvest would also increase. Now they were working for a full 12 hours. But soon, even if these goblin followers didn't eat or sleep and worked 24 hours a day, they still might not be able to decompose all the monster corpses they hunted. The current decomposition work was already at full capacity. They had to increase the number of followers and have them join in the decomposition work. This way, they wouldn't be overwhelmed. From the nearby blacksmith shop, there were clanging sounds. Very rhythmic. It was the sound of forging. It had been going on until past 10 o'clock last night and started again early this morning. It was clear that the blacksmith, Devin, was working very hard. Lin Yu planned to visit the blacksmith shop later to see how many pieces of equipment had been forged. For now, he needed to plant the spirit rice seeds into the spirit field. He also needed to upgrade the spirit field. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately returned to the Hall of the Overlord, took the green package containing the spirit rice seeds, as well as 200 gold coins, and headed straight to the location of the spirit field. Passing through the faint halo of the shield, Lin Yu entered the spirit field. From the outside, the spirit field was square, no more than 100 meters in length and width. But once inside, the field of vision instantly expanded countless times, much larger than the outside. This was obviously due to the compression of space. As for how it was done, Lin Yu didn't know. After all, he hadn't reached the level where he could perceive the highest rules of the floating island. Upgrade the spirit field first. Lin Yu communicated with the Myriad World's floating island using his thoughts. Soon, a message from the Myriad World's floating island appeared in his mind. Upgrading the spirit field to level 2 requires 200 gold coins. Do you choose to upgrade? Yes, or no? Without hesitation, Lin Yu chose yes. Every time at this point, he felt that the Myriad World's floating island was a bit rigid. Clearly, he had already expressed his intention to upgrade the spirit field, but the Myriad World's floating island still required him to confirm it again, as if it were following a rule-based procedure. Before he could think too much, the 200 gold coins he brought suddenly turned into countless golden lights, merging with the spirit field integrated union. Almost at the same time, a faint fragrance seemed to appear in the air of the spirit field. After about 10 seconds, the space of the spirit field suddenly shook a few times. And then, nothing happened. Looking around, the vast spirit field seemed to have no changes. It looked the same as before the upgrade. The only change might be that the air was fresher and sweeter. Lin Yu immediately opened the information panel of the upgraded spirit field. Spirit field. Level 2. Special attributes. Crop pet growth time reduced by 20%, yield increased by 30%, mutation probability is 5%. Upgrade requirements. 1000 gold coins. Note: Level 2 spirit field can only plant level 2 and level 1 grains. Indeed, the growth time has been reduced. Increased yield and improved mutation probability. Lin Yu's face was filled with joy. When spirit field was at level 1, the special attribute column had only one word, none. Now that it has reached level 2, the special attributes have immediately increased by several. Could this be the power of gold coins? Then, Lin Yu looked at the upgrade requirements for the next level of spirit field and rolled his eyes. To upgrade from level 1 to level 2, it requires 200 gold coins. But to upgrade from level 2 to level 3, it requires a whopping 1000 gold coins. The increase is too exaggerated. At this stage, 1000 gold coins is not a large amount for Lin Yu. But keep in mind, this is only to reach level 3. How many gold coins will be needed to reach level 4, level 5? Lin Yu knows that the highest level of spirit field is level 9. In other words, in order to have a full level 9 spirit field, it will inevitably require a massive amount of gold coins. This amount of gold coins would be enough to recruit a large army. But overall, upgrading the spirit field is still very beneficial. According to the information revealed by Myriad World's floating island, only high-level spirit fields can cultivate god-level crops and breed divine-level pets. Pets are a broad term and do not refer to any specific creature. Wild boars, wolves, chickens in the mountains and forests are pets. Powerful pure-blooded dragons, proud nature spirits, medusas in the deep sea, and naga, also known as evil nymphs, are also pets. No matter what kind of creature it is, whether it has intelligence or not, even immortal gods, as long as the overlord is willing and strong enough, they can all be raised as pets. This is the profession of an overlord. The beloved son of countless combat professionals in the floating island. At this moment, Lin Yu suddenly had a flash of inspiration and a burst of imagination. Since the breeding area of the spirit field can raise any kind of creature, then, can he also raise angels? Never mind about increasing production. All of his angels are virgin versions, with zero production. The main thing is to increase the probability of mutation. Including Ida, Sally, Vina, and other angels, they have all been hoping to achieve bloodline evolution and grow into high-ranking angels. On this issue, Lin Yu immediately communicated with Myriad World's floating island. After a moment, the reply from Myriad World's floating island arrived. Yes, some overlords have tried similar attempts before, using the breeding area of the spirit field to help their troops grow. But overlords need to remember one thing. Efficient growth and bloodline evolution always rely on war and killing enemies. The basic function of the spirit field is only to provide a food source for the overlord territory. I understand this, as long as it can help Ida and the others. A brilliant smile appeared on Lin Yu's handsome face. It doesn't matter if the efficiency is low, as long as it is effective. During the day, the angels hunt outside. After the night battle is over, they can enter the breeding area of the spirit field, where they can pray to restore their magic power and also have a chance to achieve mutation bloodline evolution. This is equivalent to improving and progressing 24 hours a day, all year round. No time is wasted. Isn't this better than squeezing into those small wooden houses? In addition, with the permissions given by Lin Yu, the angels can freely enter and exit the spirit field. From another perspective, the breeding area can be completely called an alternative cultivation sacred land. And when the level of the spirit field increases, the cultivation effect will be even better. Speaking of which, there have already been overlords who have done this. It's really amazing. Feeling emotional, Lin Yu took out the spirit rice seeds from the green package and planted them in the spirit field. There is no need to plant them one by one. Just take out the seeds and scatter them, and the rest will be taken care of by the spirit field. This is also a rule. After planting the spirit rice, Lin Yu took a look at his little demon plant, the black bone blood vine. It had only been one night. The black bone blood vine, which was only 30 centimeters tall before, has now grown to over 2 meters. The main stem is thick and there are more branches. The black bone blood vine is a big eater, constantly devouring the blood, bones, and internal organs of monsters at various levels, which naturally accelerates its growth speed to the transcendent level. Black bone blood vine. Subject: vine type demonic plant. Grade: gold. Remaining growth time: approximately 68 days and 11 hours. Mutation probability: 5%. Growth potential: king level. Introduction: a relatively rare demonic plant that mainly grows in the land of the deceased. It has a preference for blood and bones and belongs to the evil demonic plant lineage. After the upgrade of the spirit field, the information about the black bone blood vine has also changed. Mainly the growth time. When it was just planted yesterday, the growth time of the black bone blood vine was exactly 90 days. But now, it only needs about 68 days to mature and sign a magical contract with me as its master. Lin Yu roughly calculated. According to the 20% reduction in the spirit field, minus the growth time from yesterday to today, the black bone blood vine should have about 72 days of growth time remaining. But now, there are only about 68 days left. Did the floating island miscalculate? Clearly not. The reason is that since it was planted, the black bone blood vine has been devouring the blood, bones, and internal organs of monsters like crazy. These things can accelerate the growth speed of the black bone blood vine. The more it eats, the higher the quality. And the faster the black bone blood vine grows. In the words of the black bone blood vine, anything that lets it taste the essence of divinity makes the immortal flower seem like a younger brother in front of it. Devouring and evolving is the innate talent of the black bone blood vine. Its drawback is that its growth potential is low, only at the king level. Looking at the angels under Lin Yu's command, which one of their growth potentials is not at the demigod level? The growth potential of the four-winged angel has even reached the peak of the demigod level, and with further progress, it can become a true god. Compared to them, the growth potential of the black bone blood vine is still too low. However, this problem can also be solved. Not to mention the blueprint that can make demonic plants evolve, just the special function of the spirit field itself has a chance to allow the black bone blood vine to obtain a higher growth potential through mutation. In addition, there is feeding. Feeding the black bone blood vine high-quality corpses also has a chance to help it evolve. Otherwise, the black bone blood vine wouldn't dare to arrogantly say that the immortal flower is its younger brother. Grow faster. Lin Yu stood in front of the black bone blood vine, which was over 2 meters tall. He touched the blood-glowing main stem with his hand and said to himself, it would be best to achieve a mutated evolution and become a transcendent or even a saint-rank demonic plant. In that case, when your dad returns to the blue star, he can still be awesome. Rustle. The black bone blood vine swayed its thin branches like tentacles. Then it gently rubbed Lin Yu's palm with its dark red leaves, as if pleasing him and responding to him. Finally, Lin Yu glanced at the already planted spirit rice seeds. Then he turned and walked out of the spirit field. The basic growth time for spirit rice seeds is 7 days. After a 20% reduction, there is only 5.5 days left. This time is already very short. Compared to the rice on the blue star, this growth speed is faster than riding a rocket. Back in his territory, Lin Yu first instructed his goblin followers to feed the black bone bloodvine with the blood, bones, and similar things that were decomposed. Then he went to the smoky blacksmith shop. On the roof of the blacksmith shop, there was a dark green chimney. When forging equipment, thick black smoke would emerge from the chimney. Lin Yu was somewhat dissatisfied with this building setting. When that black smoke rose into the sky, it could be seen from far away, easily exposing the location of his territory. If there were any nearby combat professionals passing by, they would definitely come over to investigate. However, dissatisfaction aside, this was the setting for the territory buildings of Myriad World's floating island, and he couldn't change it. He walked into the blacksmith shop. A wave of heat hit him. The first thing he saw was a huge equipment furnace, burning bright red. The clanging sound also came from inside the furnace. Near the equipment furnace stood the old goblin, Dewin, 2 low-level goblin blacksmiths, and more than 10 young goblin apprentices. When they saw Lin Yu enter, they quickly came over to bow. "Greetings, Overlord." Old goblin Dewin stood at the forefront, looking respectful. The young goblins were also the same, but more excited. Because Lin Yu was their god of worship. The holy envoys had said that when the future, soon, arrived and Overlord ignited the divine fire and lifted up the divine kingdom, these believers would be able to enter the divine kingdom and achieve eternal life. Regarding this point, all goblin believers were unwavering in their belief. They longed to enter the eternal era of the future. Lin Yu nodded slightly and looked at old goblin Dewin. "Dewin, how is the progress of equipment forging?" Old goblin Dewin respectfully replied, reporting to Lord Overlord, "Since the blacksmith shop started working yesterday, we have forged a total of 44 pieces of equipment. 39 of them are at level 3. The rest are level 2 equipment." As a middle-level blacksmith, his forging skills were quite good. Most of the products were level 3 equipment, with only a few being level 2. As for level 1 equipment, there were none at all. If it weren't for the lack of higher-level equipment blueprints, he could even forge middle-level equipment ranging from level 4 to level 6 in the blacksmith shop. Overlord Blacksmith Shop had restrictions on equipment blueprints. "Good job." Lin Yu nodded with a smile, showing his appreciation. A low-level blacksmith shop could produce 50 to 100 pieces of equipment per day. However, due to having only 3 blacksmiths, 5 if fully equipped, and not enough time in a day, only 44 pieces of equipment were forged. Once old goblin Dewin trained all these young goblins to become blacksmiths, Lin Yu could upgrade the blacksmith shop to a middle level 1. By then, the daily production of equipment would reach several hundred pieces at least. Lin Yu's praise made old goblin Dewin very excited, and he repeatedly said, "Serving the great Lord of Holy Light is the honor of my life." Lin Yu turned his head and glanced at the red-hot furnace. Until now, he still hadn't figured out how various types of equipment could be forged with just this one furnace. Don't blacksmiths need to forge iron first? But the problem was, he didn't see old goblin Dewin swinging a big iron hammer like in the movies, covered in sweat. He simply threw monster materials into the furnace. After a certain amount of time, a finished piece of equipment would drop out of the furnace. It was quite magical. Obviously, this involves the supreme power of the rules of the floating island. Lin Yu muttered to himself. After visiting the blacksmith shop for a while, Lin Yu was ready to leave. He said to old goblin Dewin, "From now on, when you finish work every night, send the forged equipment to the Hall of the Overlord. Also, you must teach your apprentices diligently. I hope they can become blacksmiths in the near future, so that I can upgrade the blacksmith shop to a middle level 1 and forge more equipment." "Yes, Lord Overlord." Old goblin Dewin patted his chest and assured Lin Yu. He would definitely train all those dozen or so young goblins to become blacksmiths in the shortest time possible. "Very well, you can continue working. I won't disturb you." Lin Yu didn't stay long and turned around, walking out of the scorching blacksmith shop. Not long after he left, he heard old goblin Dewin's roaring voice from the blacksmith shop behind him. Old Goblin Dewan was eager to complete the task assigned by Lord Overlord, so he shouted loudly to make those young goblins remember. 1,357 gold coins. 15 pieces of equipment, 6 arrow tower blueprints, and wooden house blueprints. These were the spoils piled up in the hall of the Overlord, sorted out by Lin Yu from last night's battle. It was indeed a great harvest, much larger than the previous night's gains. At the same time, the 44 pieces of equipment from the blacksmith shop were also delivered. In addition, Lin Yu had kept 6 pieces of equipment from yesterday, including a supreme-grade equipment for the elementalist profession, the magic ball. Altogether, there were a total of 65 pieces of equipment. This was a terrifying number. At this stage, there was simply no professional or overlord who had so many equipment. And just these equipment alone would be enough for Lin Yu to sell for over 10,000 gold coins. Today is officially my first day as an equipment merchant. As he spoke, Lin Yu opened the island trading platform and listed all these equipment for sale. The early bird catches the worm. Early risers among professionals indicate that they did not die last night. As for those long sleep professionals, they have basically been torn to pieces by monsters in the darkness of last night. The floating island at night is even more dangerous than during the day. Combat professionals have no refuge of their own and can only seek shelter on their own. However, even if they find shelter, it does not guarantee their absolute safety. Because undead creatures are everywhere in the darkness and are easily attracted by the breath of the living. In addition, there are demons that are likely to exist in nightmares. They are capable of tearing apart any professional at this stage. The reason why combat professionals want to join Overlord professionals is largely because Overlord professionals have territories that can provide them with safer shelter. Early in the morning, the island chat channel became lively. No one cared about how many professionals died last night. After all, it's better to improve one's own strength than to worry about others' life and death. This is already the 4th day. Why are there still so few items on the trading platform? In terms of quantity, even the blueprints that have been listed have surpassed them. Normally, only Overlord professionals need blueprints. But equipment is something that all professionals dream of. It seems that Overlord professionals don't have much demand for equipment. Even if they explode equipment for sale, it's just a drop in the bucket compared to the millions of combat professionals. And combat professionals can't sell the equipment they explode, as they will wear it themselves. Since not many explode equipment and the equipment they explode needs to be used by themselves. Naturally, there are very few equipment on the trading platform. As for why the quantity of blueprints with lower drop rates keeps increasing, it's purely because some people are too greedy and set the prices too high, making it unaffordable for many Overlord professionals. After a few days of accumulation, the quantity naturally increases. That's a reasonable analysis. I was wondering why there are so few items on the platform. Turns out it's like this. Speaking of which, it's been more than 10 hours since Lord Lin Yu last made a move. I suddenly miss him a bit. What? Should we have a couple more world announcements to satisfy your admiration for Lord Lin Yu? Nonsense. Those are world announcements. Do you think they're cabbages on the ground that you can just pick up? The guy upstairs is even more nonsense. There are no cabbages on the floating island. Just at this moment, the previously harmonious and calm island chat channel suddenly became chaotic. Guy upstairs, what you wanted just happened. Just now, you said there were very few items on the trading platform, but suddenly dozens of items appeared. Dozens of items. That's not a lot, but what if all these dozens of items were sold by the same person? Then I'll cut off my own dick. Go ahead and cut it. It's not like you can use it anyway, and when you become a god in the future, it can grow back. I just want to say, Lord Lin Yu is mighty. I just counted, Lord Lin Yu just listed 65 items. It's terrifying. Where did the 65 items come from? There were only 42 just now. That was 3 seconds ago. Now there's only one supreme grade equipment for an elementalist. A plant. You guys are not human. Can't you leave one for me? You're so fast. I refreshed and they were all gone. You're so slow. You can't even catch up to hot shit. You guys are too crazy. 60 plus items, gone in a few seconds. Considering the huge number of combat professionals, even 100 times more equipment can be snatched up in less than a minute. After all, they're cheap. 50 gold coins for level 2 equipment, only 100 gold coins for level 3 equipment. Definitely a conscience price. Indeed, Lord Lin Yu's equipment prices are very affordable, much better than those heartless profiteers who even auction off level 1 equipment. Praise Lord Lin Yu. By the way, where did Lord Lin Yu get so many low-level equipment? Weren't the equipment he sold before all high-level goods? Possibly, but the probability is low. To obtain so many equipment, at least tens of thousands of monsters need to be killed. As I expected, it seems that Lin Yu has his own blacksmith shop. A blacksmith shop, a territory building specifically used to craft equipment by overlords. That's right, and I am certain that the probability of Lin Yu having a blacksmith shop is over 95%, it's practically confirmed. Now that he has a blacksmith shop, this is too terrifying. This information comes from an overlord player, filled with shock and disbelief. And he is not the only one. All the players in the chat channel are stunned. After all, it's only the 4th day. While most players are still struggling to survive, Lin Yu has already built a high-level building, the blacksmith shop, and started making a fortune. Isn't this terrifying? It's hard to imagine how Lin Yu managed to obtain the blueprint for the blacksmith shop. Especially the overlord players on the island, when they learned that Lin Yu had a blacksmith shop, their expressions were all blank. You see, their territories are still only low-level villages. Not to mention the blueprint for the blacksmith shop that comes standard with middle-level villages, even the ordinary blueprints for arrow towers and fences, only a few of them have managed to collect. The most crucial thing is, they realized that Lin Yu not only built the blacksmith shop, he even found a blacksmith. Because a blacksmith shop without a blacksmith is soulless and cannot craft equipment. Incredible. Forget about the blueprint, where did Lin Yu find a blacksmith? Could it be from the goblin tribe that Lin Yu conquered yesterday? It is said that although goblins are low-intelligence creatures, there are blacksmiths among their tribes. Even if that's the case, how did he make the goblin blacksmith obedient? It is well known that the native intelligent creatures on the floating island are mortal enemies of us overlords from another world. Meeting them means life or death, and the probability of surrender is extremely low. There's no way to explain it, but this is the truth. This is frustrating. With the blacksmith shop, Lin Yu is going to make a fortune. Just those 60+ pieces of equipment have brought Lin Yu thousands of gold coins. And he can put up a batch of equipment for sale every day and get rich every day. With such capital support, the number of Lin Yu's troops will inevitably increase day by day, quickly widening the gap between us. He's already so powerful, yet he's still relentlessly getting stronger. It feels like everything good is falling into Lin Yu's lap. It's simply unfair, compared to the shock of the combat players and the subsequent celebration. The overlord players on the island have gloomy expressions. Lin Yu becoming an equipment merchant helps improve the strength of combat players, so they have every reason to be excited and celebrate. But for the overlord players, this is not a good thing. Because Lin Yu can obtain a large amount of gold coins through mass selling equipment, thereby rapidly expanding the influence of his territory. They are competitors with Lin Yu. The stronger Lin Yu's influence becomes, the smaller their hope of eliminating Lin Yu and seizing the position of Island Lord. In this situation, how can they be happy? I really want to know what Lin Yu is doing now. Counting gold coins. Quote. Lin Yu doesn't have a hobby of counting gold coins. After all, he can see the total amount of gold coins at a glance, why count? Right now, he is preparing to summon angels. In just a few seconds, more than 60 pieces of equipment of different levels were sold out, earning him thousands of gold coins in profit. With the gold coins, the first thing to do is naturally to summon angels. Except for the supreme grade equipment, Magic Orb, which is still being auctioned, the other 64 ordinary equipment sold for a total of 8,470 gold coins. Plus the war spoils of over 1,300 gold coins. I now have a total of 9,827 gold coins. With this amount of gold coins, I can directly summon 3 fully equipped angel squads and still have over 1,700 gold coins left. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately contacted Myriad World's floating island and opened the summoning black hole. After the black hole appeared, Lin Yu hadn't even seen his angels yet, but he felt a sense of being watched. Vaguely, there seemed to be a low roar in the depths of his mind. Lin Yu listened carefully, but heard nothing. What's going on? Where is this sound coming from? Behind the black hole. However, before Lin Yu could think too much, a dazzling light suddenly appeared in the black hole ahead. After a moment, beautiful and holy figures flew out of the black hole one by one. Countless figures flew out from the summoning black hole. In just the blink of an eye, the hall of the Overlord was filled with a large number of fully armed angels. These were 3 fully equipped angel combat teams. Leading them were 3 stunning 4-winged angels. Standing behind them were a total of 152 winged angels wielding flaming divine swords, filling the entire hall with holy radiance. We pay our respects to the Overlord. May the Holy Lord be eternal, and may the holy light always shine. Under the leadership of the 3 4-winged angels, the beautiful 2-winged angels all respectfully saluted Lin Yu. In their golden eyes, there was nothing but reverence for Lin Yu and the fanaticism of believers towards the God of faith. In the world of faith, the God of faith is supreme. Even though Lin Yu's strength was weak and his level was only at the late stage of the 4th level, to the point where any newly summoned 2-winged angel had a higher level than him. But where there is faith, there is loyalty. All the angels under Lin Yu's command are absolutely loyal to him. Because the faith level of the angels has reached the highest level of the Holy Spirit. What is a Holy Spirit? Broadly speaking, a Holy Spirit is an apostle of the God of faith, an extension of divine will. In the mortal world, believers at the Holy Spirit level are messengers of the gods, representing the will and authority of the gods. Therefore, goblin believers refer to angels as holy messengers. The faith level of goblin believers is at the level of fanaticism, only one level away from the Holy Spirit level, but the gap between them is like a chasm. Even 100,000 fanatic believers may not give birth to a single Holy Spirit believer. In terms of the power of faith, the faith power that a Holy Spirit level believer can contribute is also the greatest, surpassing any other level of believers. Therefore, many gods of faith do not care about ordinary believers, but they are extremely concerned about Holy Spirit believers, even willing to spend a lot of divine power to cultivate more Holy Spirit believers. Just because the quality of Holy Spirit believers is much higher than that of other believers. From this, it can be seen how wonderful it is for Lin Yu to receive the faith and loyalty of the angel race. Not bad. Lin Yu looked at the neatly arranged 3 angel combat teams in front of him and expressed great satisfaction. With this, he now has 7 fully equipped angel combat teams, with a total size of 350. This does not include the 7 4-winged angels leading these 7 angel combat teams, as well as the incomplete angel squad led by Ida and Sally. If there is another wave of summoning, the total number of angels under his command can easily exceed 400. This is extremely terrifying. After all, at this stage, even overlords who randomly obtain low-level exclusive units find it difficult to reach such a scale. If it were high-level units or apex-level units, it would be even more impossible, because the higher the level of the units, the more expensive they are. Recruiting an apex-level unit costs as much as 50 gold coins. Looking at the entire floating island, only Lin Yu can summon 1 or 200. As for those high-level overlords or apex-level overlords, they dare not even think about it. Poverty is their unique disadvantage. As for Lin Yu, he is the wealthy landlord that the overlords on the island envy. According to the ratio plan of Myriad World's floating island, having 10 standard-sized angel combat teams can summon a 6-winged angel and form a small-scale angel army. In other words, if I summon 3 more angel combat teams, I can summon the 6-winged angel. Of course, the prerequisite is to upgrade the territory to a high-level village. Since yesterday, Lin Yu has been refreshing the island trading platform whenever he has free time, to see if any kind-hearted professionals are selling the Watchtower blueprint. If there is, as long as the price is not too high, he will choose to buy it. Because he only lacks 1 Watchtower blueprint to upgrade the territory again and unlock the summoning permission for the 6-winged angel. Of course, it would be even better if he could obtain it himself, so as not to be swindled by greedy merchants. My lord, 3 4-winged angels came to Lin Yu's side. Respectful and reverent, Beauty and holiness are inherent traits of angels. Admiration and fanaticism are emotions that angels only show when facing Lin Yu. When it comes to other races, angels are arrogant and indifferent. The newly summoned 3 four-winged angels, like Myralda, Maureen, and Maddie, are all war-level angels under the command of the 12-winged throne angel. Their evolution direction is the 6-winged angel of strength. Compared to divine art-level angels like Elena, there are fewer of them. And even fewer are the commander-level angels led by Seraphim. Lin Yu was a little regretful that he couldn't summon the divine art-level 4-winged grand angel, but this feeling of regret didn't last long. After all, in terms of position, 4-winged angels and 4-winged grand angels are the same. Just different in function. After thinking for a moment, Lin Yu prepared to give each of the 3 4-winged angels a name. After all, he is the captain of the team. Naturally, he should receive the favor of the Lord of Holy Light. From now on, your names will be Mira, Beth. When Lin Yu's gaze fell on the 3rd 4-winged angel, he suddenly had a flash of inspiration, and a name blurted out, "Your name is Angelia." Praise you, the Supreme Lord of Holy Light. Angelia crossed her hands and placed them on her full chest. She lowered her head and respectfully bowed to Lin Yu. Afterwards, 4-winged angel Mira, Beth, and the other 2 winged angels also praised the Supreme Lord of Holy Light in unison. Lin Yu nodded slightly. Then, he checked the information panel of the 3 4-winged angels. Initial level. Level 7. Growth potential. Demigod peak. No different from the previously summoned 4-winged angels. Lin Yu looked at the 3 4-winged angels, his gaze mainly on Angelia, and said, "The other angels have already gone to the Dwarven tribe in the Greylands to eliminate the heretics. You will also go there. After capturing the Dwarven tribe in the Greylands, each of you will lead your own team to hunt in the mountains. This world has various dangers, so be careful during the hunt." "We obey, Great Lord." Angelia and the other 2 respectfully obeyed the order. Then, under Lin Yu's signal, they led over 102 winged angels and left the hall of the Overlord, flying straight towards the distant mountains. Angelia, that's a good name. Lin Yu grinned, feeling that his naming skills had improved. After this round of summoning, he still had over 1,700 gold coins left, not enough to summon a fully equipped angel combat team. Summoning scattered angels is not a problem. But he is not in a hurry. Because in half an hour, the auction for the supreme grade equipment, Magic Orb, will end. By then, with the gold coins from the auction, plus the current ones, he can easily summon a fully equipped angel combat team. A few kilometers away, at the mountainside where the Grey Dwarf tribe is located, over 200 angels stood in midair. They held the flaming swords of angels, slowly flapping their snow-white angel wings, radiating a holy light. "Lady Elena, we have found the weakest spot. By breaking through the mountain wall for less than 50 meters, we can directly reach the caves where the heretics are." A 2-winged angel came forward to report. "Good, let's get to work." 4-winged grand angel Elena nodded slightly. "Understood." Soon, a large number of 2-winged angels gathered. Ayata and Sally, who were at level 8, stood at the forefront. They raised their angel swords and fiercely slashed at the marked positions, creating dazzling sword lights. At the same time, other 2-winged angels also swung their angel swords. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, the mountain shook. Countless rocks in the mountains were cut into pieces. And the marked position was filled with flying debris and swirling dust. At the same time, a several-meter-wide cave extended into the mountain at a visible speed. In fact, yesterday, the angels obtained information from the goblin followers and found an underground passage that could enter the mountain and directly reach the Grey Dwarf tribe. They even found several tree holes where the Grey Dwarves were hiding. But there was a problem. The Grey Dwarves were too small in size. The tree holes and underground passages they built were also small, with a diameter of just over 1 meter. If the angels were to walk through the underground passage, they would have to stoop. Moreover, the interior of the underground passage was filled with various traps set up by the Grey Dwarves, which would take time and effort to clear. If they were to be attacked by the Grey Dwarf tribe during the journey, it would be even more troublesome. So, after discussing among themselves, several 4-winged angels decided to forcefully break through the mountain and create an entrance directly to the Grey Dwarf tribe. This method was both safe and convenient. The mountain was cut by the swords. The gray dwarfs inside the mountain naturally noticed. After all, their caves were also shaking. From time to time, glowing crystals and small stalactites would fall from the top of the cave. Not to mention how many gray dwarfs were injured, but at least it made them clearly aware that there were terrifying enemies trying to invade their tribe. The gray dwarfs in the tribe armed themselves without any orders. Thick armor, leather clothes, large swords, long swords, and iron shovels. Anything that could provide them with a sense of security was utilized. The horn of war had already sounded. The evil enemy was right in front of them. However, there was not a single gray dwarf in the tribe who chose to flee. Because the old chieftain of the tribe had told them that their enemies this time were overlords from another world. And the supreme rules had issued a decree. In the face of the invasion of the overlords from another world, they must do their best to resist. Before the tribe entered the countdown to extinction, no one was allowed to escape, let alone surrender. Otherwise, they would be punished by the supreme rules. For these weak indigenous creatures, the punishment of the supreme rules was equivalent to divine punishment. Once it descended, they would undoubtedly die. So, they had to choose to fight with all their might. Exhaust all their strength to stop the invasion of the overlords from another world. Inside the tribal meeting hall, the old chieftain of the Grey Dwarf tribe and a group of high-level Grey Dwarfs, who were considered the upper echelons of the tribe, gathered. Compared to the panic and fear of the ordinary tribesmen, they were more confused. Their minds were filled with confusion. Because in their view, even if they really encountered the invasion of a legion from another world, there was no reason to make such a big commotion. The entire mountain seemed to be shaking and trembling. The feeling they had was as if ancient titans were smashing their mountains. "Chief, what exactly is going on?" One of the high-ranking members of the tribe said with suspicion, "Could it be true that the overlord from another world can really summon ancient titans? It is not a secret among the indigenous intelligent races that the overlord from another world can summon troops. The supreme rules have long conveyed relevant information. They also know the mission of the overlord from another world is to conquer this world and become the ruler of the world. And the mission of these indigenous intelligent races is to eliminate all the overlords from another world and protect this world that belongs to them." The two camps are in completely opposing positions. Whoever becomes the final victor will be able to dominate the world. And in the end, the supreme rules will also give unimaginable rewards to the winner. For example, becoming an immortal deity in the myriad worlds of the void. What ancient titans? Impossible. Another high-ranking member of the tribe immediately vetoed, saying, even if there are overlords from another world who can summon titans, they can only summon ordinary titans. Indeed, ancient titans, storm titans, thunder titans, they are all supreme beings at the mythic level. The overlords from another world cannot summon them directly. Other high-ranking members of the tribe also agreed one after another. The old chief sitting on the throne in the hall waved his hand and said, "Discussing these things is meaningless. What we need to do now is to do our best to protect our tribe." The chief is right. Just at this moment, a Grey Dwarf scout rushed into the conference hall. He knelt down with a thud and said repeatedly, "Chief, we have checked all the entrances and exits, but we have not found any trace of the enemy." Just as he finished speaking, another Grey Dwarf rushed in, shouting, "Chief, something big is happening. I saw a large number of glowing-winged people in the sky chopping our mountains." The dazzling sword lights were dozens of meters long. And there were hundreds of glowing-winged people madly chopping there. In the blink of an eye, a huge cave appeared in the belly of the mountain. "Isn't this what they were talking about?" One of the high-ranking members of the tribe took a deep breath and said, "No wonder the mountain is shaking so violently. It has been chopped by hundreds of people. Not humans, they are glowing-winged people." The expression of the Grey Dwarf scout was shocked as he said, "Some of them have 2 wings, some have 4 wings, and the divine swords in their hands are burning with golden flames. They are enveloped in a dazzling light. They look like goddesses from the divine realm, they are truly beautiful." "Foolish, shallow," the old chief said coldly, "their beautiful appearance is just a means for evil creatures to deceive people's hearts. And it can be confirmed that they are the culprits who destroyed the Goblin tribe. The Goblin tribe was annihilated by them. Now, they have set their sights on our Grey Dwarf tribe. Sure enough, the supreme rules did not deceive us. Whether it is the overlords from another world or their troops, they all have an extremely strong desire for war. These creatures from other realms will bring disaster to our indigenous intelligent races. The conference hall fell silent. All the grey dwarves present fell into silence. However, this silence did not last long, because the old chief quickly issued the order for war, commanding all the grey dwarves of the tribe to pick up their weapons and participate in the upcoming battle to defend justice. Soon, over 1,000 grey dwarves in the tribe gathered. Among them were ordinary grey dwarves. There were also warriors, elites, and even tribe powerhouses at level 8. And without exception, each of them seemed to be fearless and ready to die. In this way, after about 10 minutes, the huge cave trembled violently. Then, with a loud bang, a side of the cave's ceiling was pierced by a dozen dazzling sword lights. A large number of boulders rolled down, causing the earth to groan. "They're coming in," a grey dwarf exclaimed in shock. Soon, under the tense gaze of everyone, a group of fully armed angels flew out of the pierced cave passage. They flapped their snow-white angel wings, holding the swords of angels. Proudly standing in the sky above the cave, hundreds of angels gathered together, overlooking the grey dwarf army in the tribe. In their golden eyes, there was an obvious indifference towards heretics. "It really is a shining winged being," the old tribal chief muttered to himself. Like all the other grey dwarves, he raised his head and looked up at the group of angels gathered above the tribe, his expression becoming dull. He had to admit that these winged beings were indeed beautiful. Even from the perspective of the aesthetic sense of the grey dwarves, it was the same. Most importantly, when his gaze fell on these winged beings, he even had a thought of self-disgust and self-rejection. He inexplicably wanted to kneel on the ground, to confess all the mistakes he had made in the past, for the sake of self-redemption. This is sorcery. The old tribal chief shook his head vigorously, trying to keep himself awake, and angrily said, "Indeed, these creatures from another world have the power to deceive people's hearts. Their appearance may be beautiful, but it's only superficial. In essence, they are extremely evil creatures, like demons that come out at night." Seeing that the other tribesmen were also starting to have a confused look, showing signs of being bewitched, the old tribal chief immediately roared, instantly awakening the surrounding grey dwarves. "What happened to me just now? I seem to see myself uncontrollably wanting to worship under the goddess's crown." "Me too." The grey dwarves around them started discussing one after another. There was shock, and there was also fear. The old tribal chief said with a gloomy expression, "This is an extremely evil power of bewitchment that will trap us and make it impossible for us to extricate ourselves. But as long as we stay awake and firm in our will, these evil creatures cannot bewitch us." "Understood, Chief," a high-ranking member of the tribe quickly said. "The levels of these shining winged beings seem to be not high, mostly level 5, with a few level 6. The two highest level winged beings are only level 8. Chief, I feel that we have hope of victory." Among their tribe, there were 3 grey dwarves who had reached level 8. The old tribal chief himself was a level 9 late-stage professional. He believed that under his leadership, their tribe would definitely be able to defeat this legion of winged beings. "What you said is correct, victory is within reach." The old tribal chief also felt that he could do it. However, he still cautioned, "But don't be careless. These creatures from another world must have some ability to capture the goblin tribe. Flight is one of their advantages. You quickly gather all the spears and arrows in the tribe and distribute them to professionals above level 5. Use long-range attacks to shoot them down directly from the sky." His level had reached level 9 late stage. One step further and he would be able to step into the king level. But even so, he couldn't fly. Because generally speaking, professionals could only fly after reaching the transcendent realm. Elementalists who mastered flight magic were not included. Having the ability to fly on a low-end battlefield could provide a great advantage. However, the old tribal chief was not panicked because of this. He quickly thought of a countermeasure. "Okay, Chief." The high-ranking members of the tribe quickly went down to carry out his orders. Above the cave, the number of angels gathered together had reached more than 350. This was because Angelia, Mela, and Beth, the 3 four-winged angels, had brought their angel squads with them. Gathered here were 7 fully equipped angel squads, plus Iada, Sally, Vina, and others. The total number of angels was nearly 370. Looking around, the 100-meter-high space above the cave was filled with densely packed beautiful angels, and the long swords burning with angelic flames completely illuminated that area. Such a scene was both beautiful and breathtaking. Not to mention the gray dwarves below, even the professionals on the island would be stunned by this scene. A group of low-intelligence creatures. If it weren't for our Lord needing believers, these creatures would only deserve to be purified by the holy flames. At this moment, Angelia suddenly spoke. Her voice was cold, and her expression indifferent. She stood at the forefront of the angel legion. Behind her were the four-winged angels, including Elena, Myrilda, Maddie, and others. Then, she looked back at the four-winged grand angel, Elena, and said, "Elena, before the battle begins, use your divine magic to cleanse the souls of these lowly creatures." Okay. Elena slightly lowered her head. Immediately, she flew towards the dwarven tribe below. "Let's go too. End this battle as soon as possible." With Angelia's words, hundreds of angels simultaneously flapped their snow-white wings and surged towards the dwarven tribe like a sacred torrent. These evil creatures can't hold back anymore. The old chieftain of the dwarven tribe looked up at the approaching four-winged grand angel, Elena. In his left and right hands, he held spears made of refined iron. 4 spears were placed at his feet, and he carried a long sword on his back. He was a level 9 late-stage swordsman, and his formidable strength allowed him to call himself a great swordsman. "Once you get within 20 meters, I'll shoot you down with 1 spear." While keeping an eye on Elena, who was quickly flying towards the tribe, the old chieftain estimated the distance for a fatal spear strike. At the same time, he said to the strong warriors of the tribe beside him, "Be ready. When the enemy's main force approaches, attack together and make sure they suffer heavy losses in the first round." "Yes, Chief." The strong warriors of the tribe nodded one after another, expressing their preparedness for victory. On the other side, in the sky outside the tribe, four-winged grand angel, Elena, also noticed the old chieftain and the group of strong dwarves. She even saw the old chieftain slowly raising the steel spear in his hand. It was obviously a weapon meant to deal with her. However, she showed no fear. In the blink of an eye, she arrived above the tribe, less than 100 meters away from the assembled dwarven army. Whoosh! Suddenly, a sound broke the silence. 2 steel spears flew towards her, one after the other. Their speed was as swift as lightning. To the naked eye, the trajectory of the spear's flight was almost invisible. But for four-winged grand angel, Elena, it was not a difficult task. She flapped her angelic wings, instantly turning into a white light and disappearing from her original position. The 2 steel spears pierced through her afterimage and flew into the distance. As for Elena's true body, it had already appeared dozens of meters away. The old chieftain, as a level 9 late-stage expert, had the power to instantly kill a level 7 professional. However, Elena easily neutralized his attack. Angels possessed incredible speed. It was difficult for ordinary long-range attacks to harm them. If it were a 7-level late-stage dragon, like Elena, those 2 steel spears would most likely be one piercing its head and the other penetrating its abdomen. "You lowly heretic." Elena walked through the air, looking down at the old chieftain with a face full of astonishment, and said, "Attacking the saint of my lord will prevent your soul from being redeemed." The old chieftain took a deep breath and sneered, "The faith in the evil god only corrupts souls and decays bodies. Heretics are always ignorant and fearless." Elena raised the white jade-like staff in her hand and gently waved it. Instantly, a holy radiance bloomed from the top of the staff. At the same time, a soft voice floated from Elena's mouth. "Lord of holy light, redeem mankind. Mankind should believe in the Lord, worship the Lord. The Supreme Lord created light, banishing eternal darkness. The Lord is benevolent and selfless. Mankind should pray to the Lord and seek his blessings." With Elena's murmuring, endless rays of light slowly condensed from the void. After a moment, the light rain poured down on the cave. The power of holiness and light filled the heavens and the earth. In the depths of the unknown, it seemed that countless beings were praying. Those were the voices of believers. The divine magic of the four-winged grand angel. What is this thing? A rain that glows. The first time I've seen such rain. So beautiful. Over 1,000 gray dwarves in the tribe were stunned by the scene before them. Endless rain of light enveloped the entire tribe. The divine radiance poured into the world. In their lifetime, this was the first time they had seen such a beautiful scene. Many gray dwarfs couldn't help but reach out to touch the falling rain of light. However, unusual things often have sinister motives. The elder chieftain of the tribe immediately shouted, "Everyone, listen. Use whatever is around you to cover your body, do not let the light rain touch you, and do not touch it." The elder chieftain and the tribe's strong warriors were the most clear-headed. They were also the first to take action. They released their magical power to form shields, enveloping their bodies. However, it seemed to be of no use at all. The falling rain of light, like ethereal illusions, passed straight through their magical shields, even their armor, and entered their bodies. As the light rain merged, the group of powerful gray dwarfs suddenly felt their souls being cleansed. Their bodies and minds felt relieved. What power is this? Not only does it not harm me, but it also makes me feel comfortable. I was just extremely nervous, but now I feel very relaxed, as if all worries and negative emotions have disappeared. I hear the call of the gods. Me too, and countless sacred sounds are ringing in my ears. I understand, I was wrong. I am a deeply sinful gray dwarf. I should not have bullied the tribe's members, and I should not have plotted against Ruber to elevate my position in the tribe. Oh gods, please forgive me for the mistakes I made in the past. I pray for the divine and the light, I pray to the Lord of Holy Light, I pray for my soul to be redeemed. Beside the elder chieftain, one after another, the tribe's strong warriors began to weep. They even threw away their weapons and prostrated themselves on the ground, knocking their heads frantically. More than half of the tribe's strong warriors were repenting. This eerie scene made the elder chieftain and several level 8 gray dwarf warriors tremble in fear. What terrified them even more was not only the elite members of the tribe who were at level 6 or 7. Even the lower level members of the tribe couldn't maintain their composure. At a glance, countless gray dwarves dropped their weapons, took off their equipment, and all knelt on the ground. Over 1,000 gray dwarves in the tribe. Not a single one was spared. They were all repenting for their sins. Their mouths kept pleading for forgiveness from the Lord of Holy Light. For the elder chieftain and the others, this scene was even more terrifying than encountering demons from the dark world. Get up, all of you, get up. This is sorcery. It's the temptation of an evil god. The elder chieftain shouted in fear, forcefully kicking down the elite members of the tribe who were kneeling on the ground one by one. He tried to use this method to make the tribe's members regain their composure. However, this method was completely ineffective. He witnessed with his own eyes that the elite members of the tribe who were kicked down by him actually got up again and continued to kneel and pray to the evil Lord of Holy Light. There was no trace of pain on their faces. There was only devoutness, like believers. It's over. Everything is over. The tribe has already been defeated before the war even started. The old tribal chief had a blank expression, sinking into deep despair. Because at this moment, only the 4 of them in the entire tribe were still conscious. One was him. The other 3 were the level 8 powerhouses of the tribe. As for the other tribesmen, they had all been captured by the belief in the evil god. A level 8 gray dwarf trembled as he asked, "Chief, what should we do now? I feel like I can't hold on much longer. The temptation of the belief in the evil god is too terrifying, my will is being constantly destroyed." "Chief, only you can save the tribe now." The other 2 level 8 gray dwarves also spoke up. The old tribal chief turned to look at them, only to see that all 3 of them were trembling, their faces pale, filled with endless fear and despair. He wanted to inspire morale, but he couldn't find the words to say. Before the war began, he felt confident. Now, he was just as panicked. After all, before the war horn sounded, their tribe had lost 99% of their fighting strength. Out of over 1,000 tribesmen, only the 4 of them were still holding on. Not to mention, the enemy numbered in the hundreds. A war of attrition would be enough to tear them to pieces. The old tribal chief smiled bitterly and said, "I can't even save myself now, how can I save the tribe?" A level 8 gray dwarf hurriedly said, "Chief, you can't lose faith. If even you give up, then our tribe is completely finished." "Don't worry, I won't give up. Even if there is no hope, I will fight until the very end." The old tribal chief drew the long sword on his back, looked up at the four-winged grand angel Elena standing high in the sky, and the hundreds of angels approaching continuously. Now he understood why the goblin tribe had been captured in such a short time. The belief in the evil god had destroyed the will of the goblin tribe. How long could the remaining few goblins resist? The current Grey Dwarf tribe was suffering the same fate as the goblin tribe. Followers of the evil god. In this world, there is no breeding ground for faith anymore. The old tribal chief held the long sword in one hand, stared angrily at Elena, and cursed, "One day, your Lord of Holy Light will be surrounded by our indigenous intelligent races. Those who blaspheme against our Lord are not worthy of mercy." Four-winged grand angel Elena's beautiful cheeks were filled with indifference. She waved her staff and scattered a brilliant holy light. Immediately, the over 1,000 Grey Dwarves all finished their prayers. Then, they all stood up in unison and quickly moved away from the old tribal chief. In the blink of an eye, only the old tribal chief and the 3 level 8 Grey Dwarves remained in the square. When they looked at them, the Grey Dwarves of the tribe even had a strong sense of hostility because they felt that the old chief and the others were too stubborn and unyielding. What's wrong with believing in the Lord of Holy Light? As an indigenous intelligent race, their pursuit was eternal life itself. And as long as they believed in the Lord of Holy Light, they could immediately obtain eternal life on the spiritual level. Even if they died, their souls could return to the divine realm of the Lord of Holy Light and exist eternally. Wasn't this what they were pursuing? Moreover, under the protection of the Lord of Holy Light, the Grey Dwarf tribe could also move towards glory. The old chief and the others had no reason to refuse. The followers of the evil god should be destroyed. Seeing the hostile gazes of the tribal members, the old chief was so angry that tears were about to flow, and his anger grew even stronger. Because in his eyes, the evil Lord of Holy Light spread his faith in order to enslave their tribesmen. Now, the evil god had succeeded. Therefore, the evil god must die. The old tribal chief could no longer suppress the anger in his heart and rushed towards four-winged grand angel Elena with a roar. Although he didn't have the ability to fly, he was not helpless. Only to see him madly slashing with his sword, instantly shooting out dozens of sword lights that stretched for tens of meters. The sword lights were dazzling, cutting through the air. Straight towards Elena, who stood in midair. Heresy. Accompanied by 2 shouts, 2 figures flew over and instantly stood in front of four-winged grand angel Elena. These 2 figures were Ida and Sally, both at the 8th level. They swung their angel swords and slashed dozens of dazzling sword lights in the air. Bang bang bang, ear-piercing collision sounds rang out. In an instant, the sword lights released by the Elder Clan chief were accurately shattered by Ida and Sally. The intense collision of sword lights created a spectacular magical storm in midair, even distorting the surrounding space. The magical storm roared by, blowing Ida and Sally's golden hair, revealing their more 3-dimensional and beautiful cheeks, as well as their perfectly proportioned figures. One tall and well-proportioned, one petite and delicate. Both were stunningly beautiful. ... You easily blocked my attack. The Elder Clan chief's expression changed drastically. His expression was filled with astonishment. You should know that his level was as high as the 9th level late stage. And those, glowing winged beings who easily neutralized his attack were only at the early 8th level. There was almost a difference of 2 major realms between them. Under normal circumstances, such a huge level difference would be impossible to overcome. Not to mention, he had already used all his strength just now. Yet, the 2 winged beings easily blocked it. Although their level is only 8th. Their true strength can rival that of a 9th level professional. The Elder Clan chief took a deep breath, not understanding the background of these glowing winged beings and what kind of intelligent creatures they belonged to. The winged being who wielded the staff just now had bewitched over 1,000 members of his tribe with a heretical spell. Only he and 3 other 8th level powerhouses in the tribe barely managed to withstand it. And now, 2 winged beings who could fight beyond their level had appeared. It was simply terrifying. No wonder the goblin tribe was no match for them. Such formidable enemies would probably make even those guys with one big and one small head retreat and not dare to provoke them easily. The tribe has no hope. You all quickly leave this place and seek help from the 2-headed demon tribe. The Elder Clan chief immediately ordered the 3 tribal powerhouses behind him to leave. He tightly gripped his long sword, staring solemnly at Iota and Sally standing tall in the sky, and said, "I will hold them off, you all run for your lives." "Yes, clan chief." The three tribal powerhouses did not dare to hesitate. They quickly ran out of the square and headed towards outside the tribe. But soon, their running figures came to a halt, because a large group of angels descended from the sky and intercepted them. How could those running on the ground be faster than those flying in the sky? Not to mention that they were angels who possessed the fastest speed in the world. In terms of speed, even the dragon race, unless they possessed rare dragon race abilities such as spatial or temporal powers, would not be able to surpass the angels. "Do you really want to exterminate us all?" The elder clan chief also saw the scene where the three tribal powerhouses were surrounded. He glared at the beautiful angels standing tall in the sky with immense anger. His heart was filled with fury and unwillingness. However, what responded to him were dazzling sword lights. Iota and Sally made their move. The two of them joined forces to besiege the elder clan chief who ruled over the dwarven tribe. At the rear of the battlefield, Myrilda and the others were also preparing to join the battle, to kill the elder clan chief together with Iota and Sally. But at this moment, four-winged angel Angelia spoke up, "Leave this heretic to Iota and Sally. Our Lord has always wanted to kill the skeleton King Lane. It's a good opportunity to promote Iota and Sally to the low-grade level. When they reach the 9th level, they can help our Lord fulfill his wish." Angelia's tone was cold, her expression indifferent. Both her appearance and figure were perfect to the point of suffocation. There is an indescribable sense of nobility in her. Upon hearing Angelia's words, Myrilda, Maureen, Mela, and the other four-winged angels standing behind her did not oppose, but instead expressed their agreement. The Lord of Holy Light has indeed been coveting the Skull King for several days. It must be taken down as soon as possible. "Here," Angelia said to four-winged Grand Angel Elena, "you go and take care of those three escaping dwarves. Your level has already reached level 7 late stage, killing them will help you break through." "Yes, Your Majesty." Elena respectfully lowered her head. Just as she was about to leave, she saw Angelia's cold gaze fall on her. Elena's body, wrapped in a platinum-colored magic robe, trembled. Angelia calmly said, "Call me by my name, Angelia. This is the recognition of the Holy Lord towards me." "Yes, Angelia." Elena seemed hesitant to say more. Immediately, she flapped the four wings on her back and headed towards another nearby battlefield. The battle did not last too long. The battle led by Iota and Sally ended first. The two angels, wielding their swords together, rendered the old chieftain, a 9th-level late-stage professional, almost defenseless. In less than 5 minutes, Iota severed the arm holding the weapon with a single sword strike. Sally followed closely. The radiant angelic sword swept across. Instantly, the old chieftain's body was cut into 2 pieces. At this moment, a gray figure flew out from the broken corpse of the old chieftain, ethereal in appearance but with the exact same face as the old chieftain. The ethereal gray figure had a fierce and malicious expression. And it stared intensely at Iota and Sally. Especially Sally, it stared at her tightly. "Follower of the evil god, I will not let you go. I have remembered your aura. When I become a ghost, I will definitely come back to find you. I will become your lifelong nightmare. The Lord says that evil will be purified by the holy flame." Sally and Iota remained expressionless. They casually swung their angelic swords, and 2 streams of blazing golden flames surged out, enveloping the ethereal gray figure. The ethereal gray figure was the soul of the old chieftain. When creatures in the transcendent world die, there is a certain probability that their souls will leave their bodies. After a period of evolution, their souls will turn into undead creatures like ghosts and specters. According to rumors, the ghost dragon, which holds the top position among the undead, is formed from the soul of a dragon after its death. No, this is impossible. The soul of the old chieftain was immediately terrified and exclaimed, "How can you see the soul? This is an ability possessed only by necromancers." However, before he finished speaking, the soul of the old chieftain had already burned into nothingness within the blazing holy flame. This time, he was truly dead. Even the immortal gods would not be able to help him see the light of day again. I have advanced to level 8 late stage. Iota sensed the advancement of her own level. Sally nodded beside her, a lovely smile spreading across her delicate and cute face. She said crisply, "Me too, the breakthrough is within reach." The two of them joined forces to kill the old chieftain, who was a 9th-level late-stage professional. They shared a large amount of primal force rewards. If it had been done by one person, directly breaking through to level 9 would not have been impossible. At the same time, on another battlefield, Elena also finished the battle. As a divine-level angel, she was not good at charging into the front lines, but her combat power was not weak, and could even be said to be exceptionally strong. Holy light magic, causing blindness to enemies. Faith magic, weakening and confusing the will and soul of enemies. Holy light imprisonment, directly immobilizing enemies. Finally, purifying with the angelic holy flame. With a combination of divine magic, the three powerful level 8 dwarven warriors were easily dealt with. After the battle, it seemed that a golden light appeared on Alina's body. "I've reached level 8. A smile appeared on Alina's delicate face. At the same time, Lin Yu, who was in the territory, also advanced. As an overlord, he enjoyed the benefit of leveling up while lying down. Chapter 71. Very abrupt. A tremendous surge of primal force emerged within Lin Yu's body. Just now, he was watching a group of big shots fiercely competing for the 3 supreme-grade equipment he put up for auction on the island trading platform: the Magic Ball, the Goblin Courage Gun, and the Goblin Leader Battle Armor. The 3 supreme-grade equipment are at levels 6, 7, and 8 respectively. They all possess special effect attributes. Especially the Magic Ball, although it has the lowest level, its effect is the strongest. It can be called the divine weapon of a mid-level elemental mage. After more than half an hour of intense bidding, the auction for the 3 supreme-grade equipment is coming to an end, and the bidding prices are all above 1,000 gold coins. Among them, the bidding performance of the Magic Ball is extremely astonishing. The bidding price has surpassed the Courage Gun and is almost catching up to the highest level Goblin Leader Battle Armor. Hall of the Overlord. A painful expression appeared on Lin Yu's face. The advancement of a professional's level is a process of pain and pleasure. The primal force from the floating island is extremely violent and forcibly tears the body of the professional to strengthen their physical qualities. This process is extremely painful. But after it ends, a cool and refreshing feeling, like being bathed in spring snow, will come. At that moment, the professional feels as if they have entered heaven. It's unknown how much time has passed. The painful expression gradually disappeared from Lin Yu's face. In its place was extreme pleasure. Lin Yu stretched lazily, and his bones crackled and popped. This feeling is really addictive. The advancement of a minor realm doesn't have much sensation. But breaking through to a major realm, like going from level 4 to level 5, is a very intense feeling, as if one has experienced life and death. However, the rewards are also great. Lin Yu can clearly feel that his current strength has increased by at least 3 times compared to before. This is a qualitative breakthrough. Now, with one punch, he can kill 2 opponents from before. With a thought, a ball of blazing flame suddenly appeared in the palm of his right hand. The fire element magic power in the world rushed towards it. The energy within him was also rapidly consumed. After a moment, a flame, a small dragon, about 1 meter long, appeared in front of him. Although the fire dragon seems small, its temperature is extremely high, as if even the air has been scorched. Still not enough. Although I can already release the fire dragon spell in its entirety, it exceeds my previous expectations. But the power is far inferior to the real fire dragon spell. Lin Yu has never seen the real fire dragon spell. But he has learned about it from Ayada. He learned that the fire dragon spell released by Goblin Chief Barial can reach tens of meters in length. That is the true flame dragon. Compared to that, his little fire dragon is like just crawling out of the mother dragon's belly, as small as it can be. As for the power, the difference is like heaven and earth. After all, there is a 4-level difference, so it's normal not to compare. Lin Yu is not disappointed, but rather very happy. A few days ago, he was just an ordinary person. A few days later, he became a professional who can release high-level elemental magic. He has enough reason to feel happy for himself. The only regret is that no one is here to share this moment of joy with him. Just at this moment, a message from Myriad World's floating island interrupted Lin Yu's thoughts. Congratulations, Lin Yu, Overlord. Your army has successfully occupied the core building of the Greyland Dwarves tribe, the conference hall. You can choose to destroy it or occupy it. If you choose to occupy it, the Greyland Dwarves tribe will become your second territory. If you choose to destroy it, the Greyland Dwarves tribe will become ruins and become unclaimed land. During this process, you may have the chance to obtain relevant blueprints of the Greyland Dwarves tribe. The appearance of this information prompt did not surprise Lin Yu. Because just a moment ago, he also received the information that Ayata and Sally teamed up to kill the chief of the Grey Earth Dwarves, and they dropped an equipment and several gold coins. The chief is dead. Naturally, the Grey Earth Dwarf tribe is powerless. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately chose to destroy. Compared to the almost useless second territory at this stage, he prefers the blueprints and stronghold treasure chests obtained after destroying the Grey Earth Dwarf tribe. Congratulations, Lin Yu Overlord. You have successfully destroyed the Grey Earth Dwarf tribe. You have gained the enmity of the Grey Earth Dwarf clan. The pure-blooded dwarf clan has put your name on the blacklist. Congratulations, you have obtained 1 fence blueprint, 7 wooden house blueprints, 4 arrow tower blueprints, 1 territory building upgrade blueprint, and a silver-level stronghold treasure chest. Another 10 or more building blueprints. There is even a territory building upgrade blueprint among them. Lin Yu's heart was filled with joy, and his smile on his face was particularly bright. This is the first time he has obtained a territory building upgrade blueprint. As the name suggests, this blueprint can be used to upgrade territory buildings without consuming resources, which is another way to get something for free on the floating island. I just don't know if it can be used to upgrade the spirit field. If it can, then I can save a lot of gold coins. As for the enmity of the Grey Earth Dwarf clan, and being put on the blacklist of the Orthodox Dwarf clan, mentioned in the information prompt, he didn't care at all. They are forces that are hostile to each other in the camp. Things like enmity and blacklists can't scare him at all. Speaking of which, why didn't we get any glory points and reputation points as rewards for capturing the Grey Earth Dwarf tribe this time? Lin Yu was puzzled. Compared to the blueprints he obtained, glory points and reputation points are more valuable. After all, there are very few ways to obtain these two things. He quickly communicated with Myriad World's floating island to inquire. Soon, a reply from Myriad World's floating island came. Except for the first time capturing a local force stronghold, glory points and reputation points will be obtained by opening stronghold treasure chests. If the Overlord chooses to occupy a local force stronghold, they will directly receive rewards of glory points and reputation points. So that's how it is. Lin Yu suddenly realized, so he didn't need to worry. He just needed to wait and open the treasure chests later. Then, Lin Yu turned his attention to the island trading platform. The bidding for 3 supreme-grade equipment had become intense. Especially the competition for the magic ball was the fiercest. Its bidding price had even exceeded the Goblin Leader's battle armor, that was 2 levels higher. On the other hand, the Goblin Courage Lance was being neglected. Because its special effect is a double-edged sword. If it is possessed by a powerful professional, it is an added bonus. But if the strength is slightly weaker, or if they encounter a stronger enemy, it becomes a suicidal attack. 2 minutes later, the auction for the 3 pieces of equipment ended. The magic ball was sold for 2,170 gold coins. The Goblin Courage Lance was sold for 1,350 gold coins. The Goblin Leader's battle armor was sold for 1,940 gold coins. A total of 5,460 gold coins. This amount of gold coins is enough for me to summon 2 fully equipped angel squads. With a great harvest from the auction, Lin Yu's smile became even brighter. If nothing unexpected happens, he will be able to gather 10 fully equipped angel squads today, and the number of angels under his command will directly exceed 500, forming a truly formidable small angel legion. This is a terrifying thing. A few more minutes passed. Suddenly, the sound of flapping wings came from outside the hall of the Overlord. Lin Yu looked up and saw Ayata, Sally, and a group of beautiful angels walking in with a pile of spoils. Among them was a silver-colored treasure chest. Lord Overlord. These are the spoils we seized from the Greyland Dwarven tribe. Ayata and the other beautiful angels stepped forward and said, the resources stored by the Greyland Dwarven tribe will be transported back by your followers later. Lin Yu nodded slightly. He casually took the spoils handed over by Ayada and the others. A large stack of blueprints, over 100 gold coins, a pair of leather boots, and a silver-level stronghold treasure chest. These spoils were obtained after killing several former tribal chiefs and destroying the Greyland Dwarven tribe. The reason there were so few gold coins was because this battle didn't kill many enemies. The gold coins on the floating island were not a traditional form of currency. They represented the power of the rules. They contained incredible magical power. They could only be obtained through war and killing. As for the indigenous intelligent races, they didn't even know what gold coins looked like. They wouldn't drop gold coins when killing monsters, so naturally, they wouldn't have any gold coin reserves. Killing monsters, obtaining gold coins, and leveling up through gaining experience were privileges of the professionals. The purpose of the floating island was to accelerate the leveling speed of professionals in this way. If they were to follow the cultivation methods of the indigenous intelligent races, such as increasing magic power and leveling up through meditation, it would take decades to reach transcendent. During this process, the professionals would have long been killed off by the indigenous intelligent races and wild monsters. The slogan of fighting for myriad worlds was naturally just empty talk. Where are they? Lin Yu was asking about the angels led by Elena, Myrilda, and others. Ayada respectfully replied, all the angel combat teams followed your orders and went to hunt wild monsters after capturing the Greyland Dwarven tribe. In addition, in this battle, except for the tribal chief of the Greyland Dwarven tribe and 3 level 8 Greyland dwarves, all the other Greyland dwarves have become your followers under the divine arts of faith by Lady Elena. The total number is 1,347. Some of them were sent to help the angel combat teams clean up the battlefield, while the rest, together with the goblin followers, are transporting the resources of the Greyland Dwarven tribe back to our territory. So many followers all at once. Lin Yu was somewhat surprised. The strength of 4-winged Grand Angel Elena's divine arts of faith amazed him. Ayada said, reporting to our Lord, Lady Elena is best at spreading faith. Before the war even started, she used her divine arts of faith to purify the souls of most of the Greyland dwarves. Lin Yu suddenly realized why the war ended so quickly. With one divine art of faith, the power of the Greyland Dwarven tribe was almost completely shattered. The only thing left was to deal with the stubborn few tribal leaders. At this moment, Lin Yu once again felt the terror of the angel race. And this was just an angel with a god-level ability. Once he summoned a large number of divine arts angels and unleashed waves of divine arts of faith, which local forces could withstand. Lin Yu looked at Ayada and the cute angel Sally beside her and smiled, it seems like your strength has improved again. Upon hearing this, the 2 angels quickly said, thank you for your protection, Lord. We have advanced to the late stage of level 8. With confidence, we can join forces to kill king-level enemies. You've actually advanced 2 levels. Lin Yu remembered that Ayada and Sally had just reached level 8 last night. Ayada explained, reporting to our Lord, when we killed the tribal chief of the enemy tribe, only Sally and I participated in the battle, so we obtained a very large amount of primal force. This was arranged by Lady Angelia. She knew that you wanted to kill the skeleton King Ryan, so she helped us level up faster. Upon hearing this, a beautiful figure appeared in Lin Yu's mind. Angelia did a great job. Lin Yu nodded and said to Ayada and Sally, you should also strive to reach level 9 as soon as possible. By then, we will have the confidence to deal with both skeleton King Ryan and the 2-headed demon tribe. In the transcendent world, king-level professionals could already be considered strong. Levels 1 to 9 could only be considered ordinary professionals. Once they reached king level, their strength would increase dramatically. Although angels are of the mythic level race, only after reaching the 9th level can they contend with king-level powerhouses, including king-level late-stage powerhouses. In the early stages of the 9th level, contending with king-level late stage is already extremely terrifying. And this refers to both 2-winged angels and 4-winged angels. If it were 6-winged angels, or even higher ranking 8-winged angels and 12-winged angels, even a difference of 2 levels would be enough to easily kill king-level creatures. Unfortunately, there are currently no angels of this kind under Lin Yu's command. Therefore, Lin Yu is eagerly anticipating Ayada and Sally stepping into the 9th level earlier. By that time, with their combat power, they will be able to kill the Skeleton King Ryan and the king-level chieftain of the two-headed demon tribe. Rest assured, my lord, Ayata respectfully said with a solemn expression, we will do our best to hunt high-level monsters and strive to reach the 9th level tomorrow or the day after. Okay, Lin Yu nodded. With Ayata and Sally's current strength, they can be said to be invincible below the king level. He doesn't need to worry about their safety. As long as they don't trespass into the territory of king-level monsters, there is basically nothing in the nearby jungle area of dozens of kilometers that can threaten them. Go out hunting. I'll be waiting for your good news. Yes, great Lord of Holy Light. The group of beautiful angels saluted respectfully and then left the hall of the Overlord, flying into the distance. As for Lin Yu, he happily sorted his spoils. For an Overlord, sorting spoils is a very enjoyable process. Especially for someone like Lin Yu. Because every battle brings great gains. 1 fence blueprint, 7 cabin blueprints, 3 arrow tower blueprints. As usual, Lin Yu threw away the fence blueprints that he didn't need and sold them on the island trading platform. He used up all the cabin blueprints and arrow tower blueprints. Soon, the number of cabins in Lin Yu's territory exceeded 100. Each low-level cabin can accommodate 10 to 15 residents. Calculating, there are nearly 2,000 residents who no longer have to sleep outdoors. But it's still not enough. Because after conquering the Grey Dwarf tribe, the number of residents under Lin Yu's command is close to 3,000, including goblins and angels. Lin Yu also has a solution for this. He used over 20,000 units of wood and over 10,000 units of stone to directly upgrade all the cabins in the territory to middle level. Middle-level cabins have more space. They can accommodate up to 30 residents at a time. This completely solves the housing problem for the residents. In addition, after using up the arrow tower blueprints, there are now over 20 arrow towers surrounding Lin Yu's territory. Lin Yu plans to accumulate more arrow towers. Before the territory is promoted to a town, he will upgrade them all. Middle-level arrow towers and high-level arrow towers will be directly upgraded to cannons. As long as the resources are sufficient, Lin Yu plans to arm his territory to the teeth. No matter how many waves of beasts or armies of indigenous intelligent races attack, he will kill as many as come. There is one blueprint left. It is the territory building upgrade blueprint that Lin Yu obtained through information prompt. Territory building upgrade blueprint. Type: Special. Level: Low level. Number of uses: 1. Usage requirement: can be used to upgrade a territory building that has been upgraded less than 3 times. Special reminder: this is a very rare special blueprint. Overlords must consider it carefully when using it to avoid wasting it. What a stroke of luck! Lin Yu was overjoyed and quickly communicated with Myriad World's floating island. He straightforwardly asked if the spirit field outside the territory is included in the territory buildings. Myriad World's floating island replied quickly and decisively. Spirit field belongs to the territory buildings. Lin Yu immediately felt delighted because he knew he had made a big profit this time. The requirement for using the upgrade blueprint is that it can only be used on territory buildings that have been upgraded less than 3 times. My spirit field is currently at level 2, having only been upgraded once. Later, I can use gold coins to upgrade the spirit field once. Then I can use this blueprint. By then, the level of my spirit field will directly reach level 4. By saving the gold coins needed to upgrade from level 3 to level 4, he naturally made a big profit. Lin Yu didn't consider upgrading other territory buildings because they can be upgraded with basic resources such as wood, stone, and iron ore. However, the spirit field can only be upgraded with gold coins. Gold coins are much more valuable than basic resources. So using this blueprint on the spirit field offers the highest cost effectiveness. Among the remaining spoils, there was a silver-level stronghold treasure chest and a pair of leather boots. Through the special kill information prompt, Lin Yu learned that these leather boots came from the Greyland Dwarf Chief. The strength of the Greyland Dwarf Chief was slightly higher than that of the Goblin Chief. The equipment dropped must be good. Soon, the equipment information for the leather boots appeared in Lin Yu's field of vision. Wind boots. Type: Defense equipment. Defense level: Level 9. Durability: 100. Special effect 1. Speed increase of 40% only applicable to professionals below level 9. Special effect 2. Curse of Gian increases damage to enemies of the light camp by 30%, below level 9. Introduction. This is an equipment cursed by the Greyland dwarf tribe chief, Gian, filled with infinite hatred towards creatures of the light attribute. Wearing it may result in being actively attacked by creatures of the light attribute. Looking at the equipment information presented before his eyes, Lin Yu fell silent. After a long time, he uttered 2 words, Supreme Grade. And it was not an ordinary Supreme Grade equipment. It was better than any equipment that had dropped before. Even I am tempted by it. Unfortunately, in my eyes, only gold coins are the most precious. And the level of this equipment is a bit low. As the combat power of his Angel Legion grew stronger, Lin Yu's vision also became higher. He was no longer interested in equipment for levels 1 to 9. If it was king-level equipment or transcendent equipment, he would probably keep it. But for equipment with low levels, it was better to sell them on the island's trading platform. Exchange them for substantial gold coins and summon more angels. Perhaps the angels he summoned could bring him more and better equipment. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately put the wind boots on the trading platform and set them to auction mode with a starting price of 1,500 gold coins and an auction time of 8 hours. This long period of time was enough for those combat professionals to figure out ways to raise gold coins. Whether it was fundraising or borrowing, this super supreme grade equipment with 2 special attributes would definitely attract countless combat professionals to bid frantically. If they didn't have enough funds, they would borrow. If they couldn't borrow, they could only watch. Do you want to open the current stronghold treasure chest? Yes, no. Open. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately chose yes. In the next moment, the silver-white treasure chest trembled. Then the lid slowly opened. Suddenly, dazzling golden light burst out, shining brightly and dazzlingly. Every time this happened, a phrase would come to Lin Yu's mind, wow, a golden legend. Actually, it's just a silver treasure chest. There are higher level chests like gold treasure chest, diamond treasure chest, rainbow crystal treasure chest, god level treasure chest, and super god level treasure chest. Lin Yu felt that in order to hear the voiceover of the golden legend, he would have to open a crystal level treasure chest at least. As the stronghold treasure chest opened, information prompts from Myriad Worlds Floating Island also appeared in Lin Yu's mind. Congratulations Lin Yu Overlord, you have successfully opened a silver-level stronghold treasure chest. You obtained 2,500 units of food, wood, stone, and iron ore each. You obtained a blueprint for dwarf musket equipment forging. You obtained 1,000 gold coins. You obtained 1 elemental magic gemstone random attribute. You obtained 200 glory points and 1,000 reputation points. In the blink of an eye, a large amount of gold coins piled up in front of Lin Yu. There was also a blueprint and a radiant gemstone emitting red light. As for the basic resources, they were automatically stored in the territory's warehouse. Equipment forging blueprint. Name: Dwarf Musket. Requirements: middle-level blacksmith shop. Restricted to use by all factions of the dwarf race. Introduction. After using this blueprint, your territory's blacksmith shop will have the ability to forge dwarf muskets. The level of the forged dwarf musket equipment will depend on the level of your blacksmith. Magic gemstone. Attribute: fire element. Level: high level. Type: special item. Special effect: increases the power of fire-based elemental magic by 30%. Introduction. The main use of the magic gemstone is to be embedded in equipment to enhance its power. The more magic gemstones are embedded without conflicting with elemental attributes and magic runes, the stronger the equipment's power will be. Good stuff. Lin Yu looked at the dwarf musket forging blueprint and the magic gemstone in his hand with joy. The former can forge muskets to arm his Grey Earth dwarf followers and enhance their combat power. The Grey Earth dwarves themselves can only be considered low-level units. But if equipped with muskets, they seem to be able to become dwarf musketeers and promote to middle-level units, greatly increasing their overall combat power. The latter, the magic gemstone, is also a rare item. He planned to keep it for himself. If he obtains a fire-based staff that he desires, he will embed this magic gemstone in it. Fire-based staff plus fire-based magic gemstone. It will definitely greatly enhance the power of his high-level elemental magic, Fire Dragon spell. Unfortunately, this time I didn't get any primal energy. Last time when he opened a treasure chest, Lin Yu obtained a small bottle of primal energy, which directly raised his level from 3 to 4, faster than riding a rocket. I can only look forward to the next treasure chest. Lin Yu didn't think much about it. He immediately stored the dwarf musket blueprint and the magic gemstone in the warehouse. These two items cannot be used for now. For example, the forging blueprint for the dwarf musket requires a middle-level blacksmith shop. His blacksmith shop is still at the low level, but it will be soon. As soon as the old goblin, Devin, trains those young goblins into blacksmiths, he can immediately upgrade the blacksmith shop. By then, he will let the old goblin, Devin, forge the dwarf musket. Because the higher the level of the blacksmith, the higher the level of the forged dwarf musket equipment. If he has a god-level blacksmith, he can directly forge the divine weapon, dwarf musket, which would be even more awesome. Lin Yu collected the piled-up gold coins. The treasure chest will disappear into thin air after opening. He was planning to study it, but Myriad World's floating island didn't give him that opportunity. With a large amount of gold coins and a territory building upgrade blueprint, Lin Yu once again entered the spirit field outside the territory. The earlier the level of the spirit field is raised, the earlier the black bone blood vine and spirit rice planted inside will mature. The downside is that the upgrade is too expensive. Fortunately, this time he obtained the territory building upgrade blueprint, and Lin Yu was also prepared to spend a lot. As Lin Yu's wind boots were put on the shelves, the chat channels on the island became lively, because this supreme-grade equipment leaked some information about him. Another high-level supreme-grade equipment. Not only is it at level 9, but it also has 2 special effect attributes. This is the most amazing equipment I've ever seen. Lin Yu is really amazing. My level hasn't even reached level 3, but Lin Yu has already obtained a level 9 equipment. It's terrifying. Just by looking at the information on the equipment, it's obvious that Lin Yu has conquered another local force, the Grey Dwarf tribe. It's inevitable, otherwise how would the curse of the tribal chief appear on the equipment? Now it can be confirmed. Lin Yu's troops belong to the Bright Camp. Because the equipment information explains that the deceased tribal chief had a deep hatred for creatures of the Bright Camp, which explains everything. Speaking of which, what apex level troops does the Bright Camp have? Who knows? Countless professionals fell silent. But soon, important information appeared again. Brothers, I just asked the floating island and learned that the Bright Camp has many types of troops, including paladins, fanatics, monks, pontiffs, judges, and grand swordsmen of the cathedral. What? The floating island has this function. The floating island is very rigid. If you ask it, it might answer. But if you don't ask, it won't pay any attention to you. With so many bright troops, which one is Lin Yu's? It could be a paladin, a pontiff, or even a judge. According to the floating island, these 3 are all apex level troops, and it didn't say which one is the strongest. Most likely it's the pontiff. Just the name feels powerful. It could also be the judge. Judgment, verdict, you can tell they have strong combat power just by hearing the names. You can't judge a book by its cover. My troop, the slime, claims to be able to devour everything in the world, but it's just a pile of shit. It only knows how to spit bubbles in battle. Quote, in the hearts of countless professionals, Lin Yu is a mystery. He doesn't create alliances or add others as friends. They know very little about Lin Yu. For many professionals, Lin Yu's labels are Overlord, Lord, Mysterious, Powerful, Invincible, and so on. Especially regarding the troops that Lin Yu possesses, professionals are very curious. Now that related information has been leaked, it naturally sparks discussions among countless professionals. However, after studying for a long time, no one has figured it out. Because the bright troops mentioned by the floating island don't seem like Lin Yu's troops to the professionals. Their combat power seems inadequate. After all, paladins, pontiffs, and judges seem to be at most on par with the Golden Behemoth. They might even be weaker. But what Lin Yu can do, the overlord of the Golden Behemoth can't do at all. But if it's not one of these 3 apex level troops, then what could it be? Could there be even more powerful troops hidden in the Bright Camp? It's just that the floating island hasn't revealed it. Regarding these questions, professionals engaged in even more intense discussions on the island chat channels. At this moment, Lin Yu is upgrading his spirit field. So he didn't see this information. If he saw it, he would probably be curious and ask Myriad World's floating island why there is no angel troop among the Bright Camp troops it provided. Perhaps Myriad World's floating island deliberately concealed the angel, a mythic level troop. Or maybe there are other reasons. Upgrade. After Myriad World's floating island provided the upgrade option, Lin Yu immediately chose yes. Instantly, 1,000 gold coins disappeared from his bag. The spirit field in front of him also began to tremble. And the fragrance in the air became even stronger. It's just like the spiritual energy in fantasy novels. Inhaled into the body, it's refreshing. Lin Yu felt that the fragrance in the air, even if it wasn't spiritual energy, had a similar effect to spiritual energy. Under its nourishment, crops can grow faster. And the harvested spirit rice can enhance physical fitness. Isn't this equivalent to spiritual objects? After about 10 seconds, the trembling of the spirit field stopped. Looking around, the spirit field was still boundless, and there were no other obvious changes. Of course, the level had indeed increased. Promoted from level 2 to level 3. At level 3, the spirit field can reduce the growth time of crops pets by 30%, increase yield by 50%, and increase mutation probability to 8%. The upgrade requirement for the next level has also changed to 3,000 gold coins. This blueprint is worth 3,000 gold coins. Lin Yu looked at the territory building upgrade blueprint in his hand. Unfortunately, it's a low-level blueprint. If it were a middle-level or high-level blueprint, it would be even better. It would save him more gold coins. Human nature is indeed greedy. Lin Yu grinned and then used the blueprint. In an instant, the previously calm spirit field started to tremble again, and the tremors were even stronger than before, as if experiencing a magnitude 3.5 earthquake. After a while, the spirit field calmed down and the upgrade was complete. There didn't seem to be any changes on the surface, except that the air became more fragrant. Spirit field. Level 4. Special attributes. Crop pet growth time reduced by 40%, yield increased by 80%, mutation probability is 10%. Upgrade requirement. 10,000 gold coins. Note: a level 4 spirit field can only grow level 1 to level 4 crops. The attributes have greatly improved. Lin Yu looked again at the remaining growth time of spirit rice and blackbone blood vine. One has 4 days and 2 hours remaining. The other has less than 50 days remaining. This is a very significant reduction. Especially for the blackbone blood vine, its base growth time is as long as 90 days, a whole 3 months. Now, after the reduction from the spirit field, its growth time is less than 50 days. The increase in yield is also terrifying. Up to 80%. I planted 10 spirit rice seeds, which originally yielded 10,000 units of spirit rice. Now, I can harvest 18,000 units, almost doubling it. And there's the increase in mutation probability. A 10% mutation probability. If nothing unexpected happens, angels will definitely take advantage of this effect to achieve bloodline evolution in the breeding area and become higher-ranking angels. Evolve 1, earn 1 for Lin Yu. The more evolutions, the more he earns. Because summoning higher-ranking angels consumes exponentially more gold coins. Being able to freeload is naturally a good thing. What makes Lin Yu feel a headache is that upgrading the spirit field from level 4 to level 5 requires a whopping 10,000 gold coins. This amount of gold coins is enough to summon 202 winged angels. It's too expensive. Wait and upgrade later. Lin Yu's mouth twitched slightly. Although he is already quite wealthy, he always feels poor. Nothing can escape the word poor. If I could occupy a gold mine, I wouldn't hesitate to upgrade the spirit field to level 9. Unfortunately, monsters are common, but gold mines are hard to find. He turned to look at the thriving blackbone blood vine and left the spirit field. After returning to the Hall of the Overlord, the first thing Lin Yu did was communicate with the Myriad World's floating island and activate the summoning black hole. Soon, 2 fully equipped angel squads were summoned by him. With this, Lin Yu now has 9 fully equipped angel squads under his command. Previously, he had over 1,700 gold coins, obtained 5,460 gold coins from the auction, obtained over 100 gold coins by killing and capturing in the Grey Dwarf tribe, and obtained 1,000 gold coins from opening a treasure chest. A total of over 8,200 gold coins. Then, he spent 1,000 gold coins to upgrade the spirit field. Summoning 2 angel squads this time cost 5,400 gold coins. In other words, he still has over 1,800 gold coins left. He didn't use this amount of gold coins. He wanted to see if anyone was selling the Watchtower blueprint. If there was, he would buy it. If not, after the hunting team returned to the territory in the evening and added the gold coins collected from hunting, he would summon another angel squad. To gather 10 angel squads, forming a fully equipped small angel army. Finally, I'm about to have a real army. Lin Yu opened the personal information panel that he hadn't checked for a long time. Lin Yu. Occupation. Overlord. Level 5 initial stage. Glory points. 200. Reputation points. 2,500. Territory. Middle level village unnamed. Exclusive unit. Angel unique. Gold coins owned. 1,849. After accumulating, my reputation points have also reached 2,500. After thinking for a moment, Lin Yu contacted the Myriad World's floating island and asked how much reputation points he would need to establish a kingdom in the future. Soon, he received a reply stating that he would need 100,000 reputation points to establish a kingdom. This reply made Lin Yu take a deep breath. 100,000 reputation points, enough to conquer 100 local forces like the Grey Dwarf tribe. But upon further thought, this requirement doesn't seem difficult to achieve. The Dark Forest is vast, and there are far more local force bases stationed there than just 100. And according to the Myriad World's floating island, the stronger the local force base conquered, the more glory points and reputation points one can obtain. When I conquer those 4 transcendent level forces, conquering the Dark Forest, obtaining 100,000 reputation points will be a piece of cake. Lin Yu made up his mind to establish his own kingdom in the Dark Forest as his ruling territory. And as the king, he would start a war to compete for the position of Island Lord. By then, his angel army would sweep across all directions, eliminating all the local intelligent races, even the battle professionals and overlords who refused to submit, and becoming the ruler of the entire floating island. Of course, this is the most ideal result. The premise is to have a truly invincible angel army. Work hard. With resources, I can summon angels. If my angel army can reach a scale of 1 million or even 10 million, with a large number of high-ranking angels, why worry about not being invincible? Thinking of this, Lin Yu's heart also burned with passion. If he had a million angel army, just the thought of it would be incredibly shocking. It seems like my territory still doesn't have a name. Until now, Lin Yu's territory has always been in an unnamed state. In fact, he already had several names in mind. He thought of names like Heaven, Light, Radiance, and Brilliance that fit his territory's faction. The reason he hadn't named it yet was that the level of his territory was too low. For example, if he named it Heaven, it would be called Heaven Village, which didn't sound impressive. When the level of the territory is raised, it would be Heaven Town, Heaven City, Heaven Kingdom, that would have a bit more feeling. I'll think about naming it when the territory is upgraded to a town. Anyway, it's currently a village, and it doesn't matter whether it's named or not. Lin Yu didn't dwell on this issue anymore. With the territory matters mostly settled, Lin Yu, who was once again idle, started browsing the trading platform and island chat channel. In the island chat channel, there were still many professionals discussing what his unit was. And until now, they hadn't come up with a satisfactory answer. Those light units, how can they compare to my angels? Lin Yu shook his head as he looked at the constantly refreshing discussions in the chat channel. Apex-level units on the floating island were extremely rare, and their combat power was extremely strong. But his angels were unique among all the Apex-level units, the kind that others couldn't summon. As a mythic-level unit, angels are more powerful than any other Apex-level unit. On this matter, Lin Yu does not accept any objections. After all, angels have unwavering faith and loyalty. Their status and lineage are at the pinnacle of intelligent races. And they are immortal beings. Angels are unlike other intelligent creatures, as they possess the angelic heart, which contains the essence of souls and the source of magic. If an angel dies, they can be resurrected through the angelic heart. This is an ability that other units do not possess. Although undead can also be resurrected, without the flame of the soul, they will still perish. But the angelic heart is indestructible. In terms of hardness, it can rival the divinity of gods. Absolute loyalty, high status, noble lineage, immortality, and the ability to spread faith and develop a massive legion of followers. All of these establish the title of angels as a super apex level unit. To put it bluntly, if the floating island marks, unique, on angels, it acknowledges the invincibility of the angel race. Otherwise, angels would be on par with other apex level units. Without further attention to the lively chat channel, Lin Yu continues to browse the trading platform for his watchtower blueprint. Although the hope is slim, he still wants to try his luck. Time quickly passes. In the afternoon, a large wave of figures appears outside Lin Yu's territory. Among them, a part is a Goblin Believer team led by the level 8 Goblin leader, Bard, and the other part is the Grey Dwarf Believers, captured by the four-winged Grand Angel, Elena, using her faith magic. Similar to the Goblin Believers he recruited, the faith level of the Grey Dwarf Believers has also reached fanatical levels. With over 1,000 Grey Dwarf Believers, they can provide Lin Yu with a tremendous amount of faith power, which will help him become the god of faith more smoothly in the future. Both teams are transporting a large amount of basic resources. And all of them come from the reserves of the Grey Dwarf tribe. Lin Yu calculates that there are a total of over 38,700 units of food, over 16,000 units of wood, over 24,900 units of stone, and nearly 30,000 units of iron ore. This resource distribution ratio truly surprises Lin Yu. Because logically, among these three resources, iron ore should be the scarcest, followed by stone, and then wood. But now, the most abundant resource is iron ore. And the least abundant resource has become wood, which is everywhere. It's simply illogical. Lin Yu immediately summons a Grey Dwarf Believer to inquire. This Grey Dwarf is at the level 7 late stage, an elite among elites, not weak in strength, but still unable to resist Elena's faith magic and was captured in one move. Greetings, Great Lord of Holy Light. May your radiance be eternal, like the sun in the sky. The elite Grey Dwarf Believer kneels devoutly before Lin Yu, his eyes filled with fanaticism and excitement. The other Grey Dwarves gathered nearby are envious of this scene. Being summoned by the god of faith is the ultimate honor. Please rise. Lin Yu nods slightly and then mentions his doubts. After listening, the elite Grey Dwarf Believer becomes somewhat embarrassed and fearful. He quickly explains, reporting to the Supreme God, because our Grey Dwarf tribe has been separated from the dwarf community for too long, we have lost the talent for crafting equipment. However, our preference for iron ore has not disappeared. For a long time, we have been living in tunnels and mountains, so we have collected a large amount of iron ore and high-quality stone. Well, that's the reason. Lin Yu understands why the Grey Dwarf tribe has stored so much iron ore and stone. It's simply because they have no use for them and can only store them. So, your tribe doesn't have any blacksmiths? Yes, great God. The elite Grey Dwarf Believer becomes even more fearful. Afraid that the god of faith will abandon their tribe because of this reason. Then they will completely lose hope for the future. Lin Yu doesn't have such thoughts, but he feels a little regretful. He thought he would get legendary dwarf blacksmiths, but it turns out that these Grey Dwarves have long lost the glory of their ancestors. However, the problem is not significant. Lin Yu said to the elite Grey Dwarves in front of him, find the smartest and most talented Grey Dwarves in your tribe and send them to the blacksmith's shop to meet with Devon. And tell your people that the past is not important. But in the future, they must strive and carry on the tradition of the dwarves in crafting equipment. As dwarves, it is unacceptable not to be able to craft equipment. Upon hearing this, the elite Grey Dwarves were immediately excited to the point of trembling. Tears even flowed from their eyes. Their Grey Dwarf tribe had become accustomed to hiding and surviving in dark caves, and they had even forgotten their beloved blacksmithing profession. Some intelligent races even referred to them as cave-dwelling dwarves. This was an extremely derogatory term. However, is this what they wanted to see? Certainly not. This was purely the result of their ancestors' accumulated virtues. As the descendants of countless generations, they had no way to change the current situation. Now, the great God of faith had given their tribe an opportunity to revive the glory of the dwarves, and they were naturally excited beyond measure. Indeed, believing in the great Lord of Holy Light was the right choice. Only the Lord of Holy Light could bring a brilliant future to their Grey Dwarf tribe. Praise you, great Lord of Holy Light. The elite Grey Dwarves knelt down again and fervently said, I believe that under your protection, our tribe can give birth to blacksmiths and restore the glory of our ancestors. It's good to have confidence. Lin Yu smiled and nodded. Then he raised another question. Since your tribe doesn't have blacksmiths, where do you get your equipment from? He noticed that among the Grey Dwarves who entered the territory, some were fully armed. The elite Grey Dwarves quickly explained, Great God, our tribe's equipment is either inherited from our ancestors or obtained through trade with the Goblin tribe. As soon as he finished speaking, he added, those goblins are incredibly greedy. It was obvious that the Grey Dwarf tribe had suffered a great loss in trading resources for equipment. Not far away, the goblin leader, Bad, and other goblin believers were very angry. This Grey Dwarf dared to slander their goblin tribe in front of the great Lord of Holy Light. It was truly despicable. Fortunately, the Lord of Holy Light did not express agreement. Otherwise, they would have to fight this Grey Dwarf. Lin Yu waved his hand and said, the past is in the past. Now, the people of both your tribes are my believers. Believe in me, be loyal to me, and work for my territory. This is your duty. When I ascend to the divine realm in the future, your souls will be able to enter the divine realm. At that time, I will grant you eternal life. Praise you, great Lord of Holy Light. At this moment, all the goblin believers and Grey Dwarf believers in the tribe knelt down to Lin Yu, their expressions filled with excitement and fervor. Now go and do your tasks. The lower-level goblins and Grey Dwarves stay in the tribe and decompose the monster corpses. Those above level 5, form teams and go hunting. After Lin Yu finished speaking, the goblins and Grey Dwarves in the territory immediately began to act. Soon, 2 relatively large teams left the territory. They were all elites who could hunt some monsters even without the help of the Angel Squad. With this, Lin Yu's hunting teams reached a total of 12. 9 fully equipped Angel Squads, 2 Goblin teams, and 1 Grey Dwarf team. The overall strength had once again increased, which meant that the daily harvest would be greater. As for Lin Yu, he returned to the warehouse in the territory. What he had just said to the goblins and Grey Dwarves was not a boast. After becoming a god and establishing his divine realm, he did have the ability to grant eternal life to his believers. Even in death, the souls of his believers would return to the divine realm and be reborn with their memories intact. This was the power of the God of Faith. If it were the Law God, they would not have such ability. Because the Law God did not have the bond of faith, and could not directly guide souls to their divine realm. All the food, wood, and other resources seized from the Grey Dwarf tribe were piled up in the square of the territory. This is because the storage capacity of the warehouse is no longer sufficient. The capacity of the low-level warehouse is 100,000 units. But just the basic resources seized this time already exceed 100,000 units. Not to mention, Lin Yu's warehouse already had a large reserve of resources. So, the unique solution is to upgrade the warehouse. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately brought up the upgrade option for the warehouse building. After paying 1,000 units of wood, 500 units of stone, and 300 units of iron ore, the warehouse building successfully upgraded to middle level. Middle level warehouse can store 500,000 units of resources. Continue. With a thought, Lin Yu upgraded the newly upgraded middle level warehouse to high level. He has too many basic resources now and doesn't care about the cost of this upgrade. In the end, the high-level warehouse building has a storage capacity of 1 million units, easily accommodating the seized supplies. Warehouse. Level. High level. Storage capacity. 1 million units. Reserved resources. 66,700 units of food, 35,900 units of wood, 42,000 units of stone, 47,300 units of iron ore, and various monster materials. Next level. Town level reserve. Upgrade requirement 110,000 units of wood, 5,000 units of stone, 3,000 units of iron ore. Upgrade requirement 2. Town level territory. There's an additional prerequisite. Only with a town level territory can the warehouse continue to be upgraded to increase the storage capacity. But it doesn't really matter. For the time being, a storage capacity of 1 million units is already enough. It is impossible to overflow the warehouse. After all, Lin Yu's territory is not far from upgrading to a town. And upgrading other territory buildings also requires consuming resources, especially the over 100 wooden houses and dozens of arrow towers. Once upgraded in bulk, the consumption will be astonishing. Next, it was another uneventful day. Everyone in the territory was working, except for Lin Yu. As the overlord, he only needed to give orders. When he had free time, he would browse the island's chat channel and trading platform. Time flew by and it was already afternoon. In the wilderness, in a forest about 6 kilometers away from Lin Yu's territory, there was a clear lake nestled among the sturdy ancient trees. The lake was not large, spanning only 200 to 300 meters. This was the water source for many wilderness monsters. But at this moment, there were no other wilderness monsters near the lake. Because a forest python measuring tens of meters long coiled around the lake, its body covered in a blue color with silver-white patterns winding around it. On top of the forest python's head, there was a silver horn. Occasionally, lightning could be seen flashing. This was an overlord-level monster boss, a level 8 late-stage creature, extremely powerful. Today was its first day occupying the lake. The aura emanating from its body frightened nearby wilderness monsters, preventing them from approaching. It coiled its massive body, raised its head, and opened and closed its ferocious mouth full of snake teeth. Sunlight shone on its body, and the elemental magic power from the heavens and earth converged towards it. Wilderness monsters could also cultivate. Just as the forest python was peacefully meditating, an unexpected guest suddenly arrived. It was a beautiful angel radiating with holy light, flapping her snow-white angel wings behind her, gracefully transmigrating between the gaps of the trees. Finally, she appeared in front of the forest python. This angel was none other than Lin Yu's four-winged angel, Angelia. I finally found a high-level monster, and it's an 8th level late stage. In midair, Angelia walked slowly. The 4 angel wings behind her emitted dazzling light. She held the angel sword, burning with golden flames, and looked down on the forest python lurking dozens of meters away. This is a very dangerous distance. Considering the massive body of the forest python, it could whip its tail and hit Angelia in an instant. However, Angelia showed no fear. The expression on her beautiful face remained indifferent as always. It seemed as if the overlord-level forest python in front of her was nothing more than a low-level monster. It is worth mentioning that the magical fluctuations emanating from Angelia have already reached the 7th level late stage. It should be noted that since summoning in the morning until now, which is only 5 or 6 hours, she has been able to level up twice, and she is only one step away from reaching the 8th level. Such a speed of leveling up is simply terrifying. The reason behind this is that she specializes in hunting high-level monsters in the wilderness. She doesn't waste time on those low-level monsters. As for her angel squad, they are hunting in other areas. Come on, let me end your suffering. Angelia nodded slightly, her gaze fixed on the forest python. For you lowly creatures, living in this world is indeed a very painful thing. Roar! The forest python immediately roared in anger. It was not pleased with Angelia's provocation. As a high-level monster, it could barely understand what Angelia was saying. Suffering? No, it didn't feel any suffering at all. It is the overlord of this area. Moreover, it has just occupied this lake of life, and no longer needs to roam for hunting. It will have endless food, and enough time to meditate and level up. In its view, good days are about to come. Roar! The forest python roared again. The sound was like a beast's roar. Almost at the same time, a purple lightning burst out from the horn on its head, directly striking Angelia, who stood in midair. It wanted to use the power of lightning to kill this proud and beautiful creature in front of it. And then, devour her. Swish! Angelia swung the angel sword in her hand. Instantly, the sword light struck accurately and hit the purple lightning. The power of holiness and light collided with the thunderous power in the lightning. The result was the disintegration of the lightning. The sword light continued unabated and struck the forest python. The forest python widened its eyes, and its dark green pupils were filled with disbelief. The combat power of this winged creature is so strong. At the same time, the forest python twisted its massive snake body, trying to avoid the sword light that was coming straight at it. It could sense that the power of the sword light was terrifying, and it did not weaken at all after shattering its lightning. If it were hit, it would undoubtedly be injured on the spot. The hard scales on its body could not protect it completely. The forest python forcibly twisted its body, presenting an exaggerated angle, narrowly avoiding the sword light hitting its vital parts. But even so, the sword light still grazed its body and flew towards the distant jungle. Clang! Sparks flew, followed by blood splattering. A deep wound, visible to the bone, appeared on the old waist of the forest python. This was not a tearing injury, but a penetrating one. It had two bones that were both severed. If it hadn't avoided danger in time, this sword light could have easily cut its body in half. The intense pain made the forest python furious. Its emerald eyes instantly turned blood red, just like a two-headed demon releasing a berserk skill. With the raging fury of the forest python, thick purple lightning bolts shot out from its horn, one after another, and struck four-winged angel Angelia. Faced with such an attack, even professionals of the same level would have to retreat. However, Angelia seemed to be suspended in midair. There was no intention to dodge at all, only to see her swing the sword of the angel again, slashing out brilliant sword lights. Each sword light accurately shattered a lightning bolt. In the blink of an eye, all the lightning bolts disappeared. Only the dense sword lights continued to slash towards the forest python. The forest python was scared to death. Without hesitation, it turned its head and ran. It encountered a freak who could surpass levels and easily suppress it. If it didn't run, it would die. Imprisonment. Just at this moment, a cold voice sounded. In an instant, a dazzling holy light fell from the void, enveloping the forest python. Suddenly, the space around the forest python seemed to be sealed, allowing the forest python's massive body to crash into it, but it couldn't break through the cage formed by the holy light. This was a skill that the divine level angel excelled at, holy light imprisonment. But it was released by Angelia, who was a war level angel. It must be said that this was a miraculous thing. Meanwhile, while the forest python was imprisoned, sword lights came slashing from different angles. All of them accurately struck the forest python's body. In that instant, snake scales flew and blood splattered, presenting a strange beauty of dark wind. And after all the sword lights disappeared, the massive body of the forest python had been chopped into pieces. Scattered corpses, shattered internal organs, sticky blood. They were scattered all over the ground. The strong smell of blood quickly filled the area. Even the lake behind it was stained red by the forest python's blood, attracting countless fish and beasts to swarm and devour the traces left by the forest python. Over here, it seemed that golden light was emanating from Angelia, making her appear more beautiful and noble. At the same time, the aura emanating from Angelia quickly increased. In an instant, it increased several times. She leveled up. Her level went from level 7 late stage to level 8 early stage. However, Angelia frowned slightly and muttered to herself, "I was a bit too heavy-handed. How can those humble believers transport such a broken body back to the Lord's territory? Next time I encounter such a situation, I must hold back a bit. A single sword strike to its head will do." Without thinking any further, Angelia picked up a pile of gold coins that had exploded, as well as a piece of paper emitting a faint golden light, and then flapped her angel wings on her back, disappearing into the vast jungle. She was going to continue searching for higher-level wild monsters. On the territory side, Lin Yu also received the information prompt that Angelia had killed the forest python. Earlier, he had already communicated with Myriad World's floating island and blocked ordinary kill information prompts. But if something like a blueprint or equipment dropped, the information prompt would still appear. So, when the forest python died, he knew about it for the first time. Truly worthy of being the four-winged angel. To kill a high-level wild monster with just her own strength. Angelia's initial level was level 7. With the power of level 7, she was able to kill an 8th-level late-stage forest python, which made Lin Yu feel a bit surprised, as she had crossed at least one major realm. However, he was more delighted. The fact that 4-winged angel's combat power was so strong indicated that 6-winged angel was even more powerful. He couldn't wait for the upgrade of the territory. Among the millions of professionals on the island, no one has managed to obtain the blueprint for the lookout tower. Is this a loss of morality, a distortion of human nature, or simply a severe abnormality in the spirit attribute of the goddess of luck? A plain area in the floating island. The territory of the Golden Behemoth Overlord. During the day, the Golden Behemoths in the territory went out hunting. Only the young man remained in the territory. This phenomenon is normal. At this stage, hardly any overlord would run off to the wild world for fun. But compared to Lin Yu, the young man's life was somewhat unsatisfactory. Because he still had to do his own work, decomposing the wild monster corpses brought back by the Golden Behemoths. Golden Behemoths wouldn't do this kind of work. Their main role was to fight. So in general, the decomposition of monster corpses had to be handled by the overlord himself. Of course, this was only in the early stages. Once the overlord became powerful enough to conquer local strongholds, they could capture the indigenous intelligent beings and have them work for them. Just like Lin Yu now. He handed over all the work of decomposing corpses to the believers in the territory. As for the indigenous intelligent beings captured by the overlord, whether they would escape or directly betray without the bond of faith would depend on the overlord leadership and persuasiveness. Capable overlords had a chance of gaining the loyalty of indigenous intelligent beings. On the other hand, there was a high probability of escape and betrayal. From this perspective, it could be seen how perfect the angel unit, which could spread faith, was. I'm an apex level overlord after all, why do I have to do this all day long? The young man muttered while diligently decomposing the monster corpses. Whenever this happened, he despised his unit, the Golden Behemoth. Because the Golden Behemoth had very strong combat power and could hunt many wild monsters every time they went out. In just a few rounds, the small square in the territory would be piled up with a large number of monster corpses. And he had to decompose all these monster corpses alone. Tired like a dog every day. This was not the overlord life he wanted. The floating island is so inflexible. Meat and monster materials can be sold, but the monster corpses can't. Either discard them or decompose them myself. I don't know how to be flexible. The young man was very dissatisfied with this. He was someone accustomed to enjoying life and definitely didn't want to be exhausted every day. But he had no choice. The food problem of the Golden Behemoths was easily solved, just let them gnaw on the monster corpses. After all, weren't beast-type units supposed to eat meat and drink blood? The reason he had to decompose the monster corpses was that he had to seize every opportunity to earn gold coins. Even if it meant selling meat at a low price, he had to do it. Because he had to repay his debt. Previously, in order to bid for the warehouse blueprint, he borrowed over 4,000 gold coins from Alliance members, which was not a small amount. Now, the closer the deadline for repayment got, the more anxious he became. He was afraid that if the contract expired and he hadn't fully repaid the gold coins, the floating island would directly seize his Golden Behemoth as collateral. This was not an impossible thing. He signed the loan contract under the witness of the floating island. If he dared not to repay the debt, the rule power of the floating island would definitely come after him. Thinking of this, the young man couldn't help but curse uncontrollably. Lin Yu, if it weren't for you, why would I be exhausted like a dead dog every day just to repay the debt? The bidding for the warehouse blueprint was a stain on the young man's life. Every time he thought of being called an idiot, it made him furious. One thing he could be grateful for was that countless events happened in the world of the floating island every day, causing the forgetfulness of professionals. By today, no one in the chat channel was calling him an idiot anymore. In addition, there were gradually fewer people leaving the Hall of Kings. The situation seemed to be under control. This somewhat comforted the young man. Rest for 3 minutes. The young man opened the island trading platform. With a single glance, his expression twisted instantly. The mechanism of the trading platform is such that items of higher level and value will appear at the top, in the most prominent position. It's like being at the top. So, as soon as he entered the trading platform, the young man's eyes fell on the wind boots listed by Lin Yu. This is a piece of supreme grade equipment with 2 special attributes. And its level is as high as 9. There is no doubt that it is the most eye-catching item on the entire trading platform. Lin Yu has captured another local stronghold. He captures one stronghold a day. How can he be so fast? The young man's face turned green, and he was also shocked by Lin Yu's terrifying strength. Attacking local strongholds is something he dreams of doing, but due to the overall strength of his troops, he dare not provoke them now. On the other hand, Lin Yu captures one stronghold a day. It makes him envious to the point of being red-eyed. It's almost there. I'm about to have over 100 golden behemoths. As long as one of the golden behemoths reaches level 8, I can go conquer a small local stronghold. In these past few days, the young man has obtained several pieces of equipment and blueprints with the help of his apex level unit, the golden behemoth. But he didn't keep a single one of them. Because he is in desperate need of gold coins. He can only sell them all on the trading platform. With the gold coins he obtained, he recruited a batch of new golden behemoths, thereby expanding the strength of his territory. The young man is not foolish enough to use those gold coins to repay his debts, because he knows very well that the stronger he becomes, the greater his daily gains will be. As long as the golden behemoth squad can grow in size, repaying the debts won't be difficult. After all, there are still several days left until the contract deadline. Just you wait, I will definitely capture a local stronghold in a short period of time. The young man gritted his teeth and swore. He must let all the professionals on the island know that he is definitely not an idiot. He is a powerful apex level overlord. He was just tricked by Lin Yu once. Thinking of this, the young man snorted twice. He continued to work hard and fulfill his duties. Apart from the golden behemoth overlord, after seeing the wind boots sold by Lin Yu, the high-level overlords and apex-level overlords on the island became even more urgent. They were all like they had taken chicken blood. They became more diligent and motivated than usual. Lin Yu was like a stimulant. Every move he made seemed to stimulate those big-shot overlords, forcing them to strive forward. Including the leader of Midsummer Night, Sha Qingyu. She was also stimulated by Lin Yu. As soon as she had a little bit of gold coins, she immediately recruited her apex-level unit, the Frost Dragon. She had more Frost Dragons than the young man had golden behemoths, with over 100 of them. Her strength could be said to be very powerful. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to describe her as standing at the top of all overlords. However, I still can't compare to Lin Yu. Although I don't know what kind of unit Lin Yu has, he must have a large number of them, at least 300 or more. After all, he earned so much money by selling equipment and blueprints. Thinking of this, Sha Qingyu's beautiful and fair cheeks also showed a hint of envy. She also wanted to have her own blacksmith shop to mass-produce equipment. And then sell them on the trading platform, earning a large amount of gold coins. However, reality is cruel. She not only lacks blacksmith shop blueprints but her territory is also just a low-level village, which doesn't have the ability to produce equipment at all. Up until now, among all the overlords on the floating island, only Lin Yu has such strength. I wonder what level Lin Yu is now. He's probably already at level 4. Sha Qingyu's level has just reached level 3. Based on the speed at which she obtains origin energy, she speculates that Lin Yu should already be a level 4 professional. This is also the aspect where she envies Lin Yu the most. One step faster, step by step faster. Lin Yu has already surpassed the other overlords on the island in all aspects. Time flies, and night falls once again. Countless battle professionals on the island are returning to their shelters at this time, not daring to linger in the dark, enveloped wilderness. Their strength has not yet reached the point where they can hunt monsters in the wild at night. At least level 5 or above is required to have a chance. Of course, this does not include the battle professional who took away the ghoul leather armor. With the ghoul leather armor, her life is more comfortable than most battle professionals, and countless praises for Lin Yu are no longer mentioned. The night approaches. One after another, large teams return to Lin Yu's territory. The first to return are 2 goblin teams and 1 grey dwarf team. Also returning are more goblins and grey dwarves, with relatively lower levels. Their task is to help clean up the battlefield and transport the corpses of the hunted monsters. In an instant, Lin Yu's territory becomes lively. The popularity is nearly 10 times higher than during the day. The goblins and Grey Dwarf followers who return to the territory also come to pay their respects to Lin Yu after a devout praise and prayer. Then they gather in the southwest area of the territory. There, they start fires and cook. Nowadays, the food in the territory is no longer limited to beast meat. The warehouse is stocked with plenty of fresh fruits, edible wild vegetables, and dried fish. Most of them were confiscated from the Grey Dwarf tribe. Of course, these foods are distributed in small portions because there are too many residents in the territory. Only beast meat is supplied without restrictions. Eat as much as your stomach can hold. Large quantities and guaranteed fullness. When the spirit rice is harvested, Lin Yu will let the residents enjoy fragrant rice, which can enhance their physical fitness. When it comes to food, Lin Yu is not stingy with his residents. And this makes the goblins and Grey Dwarves in the territory even more grateful to Lin Yu. To put it bluntly, they have never eaten so well when they were in the tribe. Whether it was the Goblin tribe or the Grey Dwarf tribe, the reserved food was basically for the tribe chief and the high-ranking members to enjoy. Others had no share and had to solve their own meals twice a day. Compared to their previous tribal life, the current life is simply as beautiful as it can be. This also leads to many goblins and Grey Dwarves praying to Lin Yu, the Lord of Holy Light, while eating. Then more goblins and Grey Dwarves join the prayer line. They are infinitely grateful for the delicious food bestowed by the Lord of Holy Light. And facing the kind and loving Lord of Holy Light, the only thing they can offer is unwavering faith and loyalty. To protect their faith and the glory of the Lord of Holy Light. They are not afraid of death. On the other side, the angelic squad that went out hunting is also returning to the territory one after another. In less than half an hour, the angelic squad led by four-winged Grand Angel Elena, four-winged Angel Myralda, Maureen, Maddie, and others have all returned. After a day of hunting, almost all the angels have more or less increased their levels. Ida and Sally, at the late stage of level 8. Vina, Josie, and Helen, the three sisters who were summoned first as two-winged angels, have all been promoted to level 8. Four-winged Angel Myralda and others have entered the late stage of level 7. Four-winged Grand Angel Elena has reached the early stage of level 8. Other angels have also made progress. However, among them, the one with the fastest level advancement is Angelia, also a four-winged angel. When Lin Yu's gaze fell on Angelia's infinitely beautiful figure, he immediately sensed the surge of magical fluctuations emanating from her, which increased by more than 10 times compared to when she was summoned in the morning. This is a very terrifying thing. Even Ida and Sally, who teamed up to kill the Grey Dwarf tribe chief Jean, did not have such a frightening rate of improvement. He immediately opened Angelia's information panel to check. Four-winged Angel Angelia. Level. Mid-8th level. Growth potential. Demigod peak. Possesses battle skills. Holy Cross Sword, Holy Light Slash. Introduction. Belongs to the Orthodox faction of the angel race, under the command of the 12-winged throne angel. She has actually reached the mid-8th level. Looking at Angelia's information panel, Lin Yu was completely shocked. You see, when she was summoned in the morning, Angelia was only at the early 7th level. In just about 10 hours of hunting, Angelia has advanced by a total of 4 realms, one of which is even a major breakthrough. This made him somewhat incredulous. However, Lin Yu quickly understood the reason behind it. It must be that Angelia single-handedly killed many high-level wild monsters, such as the level 8 late-stage forest python, and absorbed all the origin energy, which is why her level skyrocketed. After thinking about it, Lin Yu summoned Angelia. Angelia, your rapid level advancement is something to be happy about. However, when you act alone, don't forget about your angel squad under your command. Master, rest assured. Facing Lin Yu, Angelia obediently lowered her head and respectfully said, when I hunt wild monsters, I always stay in the vicinity of the angel squad. Even if they encounter danger, I can rush to their aid as soon as possible. Lin Yu nodded slightly, then said to the other 4-winged angels, you can also follow Angelia's example and hunt high-level wild monsters nearby while ensuring the safety of the angel squad. Of course, it's just an example, and it's not necessary to do so. Your own safety should come first. Yes, merciful Lord. The 4-winged angels responded in unison and praised their Lord. Afterwards, Four-winged Grand Angel Elena and the others handed over the loot they had obtained today to Lin Yu. Each person turned in hundreds of gold coins. Some even dropped equipment and blueprints. In total, it amounted to nearly 4,000 gold coins, as well as 17 pieces of equipment and 5 blueprints, including the hunting gains of the Goblin and Grey Dwarf teams. It was another great harvest. Nearly 4,000 gold coins is not a small amount. With an additional one-third, Lin Yu could summon 2 fully equipped angel squads. And this was just the daytime harvest. When the outside world completely plunged into darkness and undead creatures emerged later, his angels would continue to go out and fight. If nothing unexpected happened, there would be another big harvest at night. The gold coins obtained from the 2 hunts combined would be enough to summon 2 to 3 angel squads, or even more. The snowball of the territory had already started rolling. And the rolling speed was getting faster and faster. Lin Yu believed that it wouldn't be long before the total number of angels under his command reached over 1,000. He said to the beautiful 4-winged angels in front of him, "Rest for a while, and when you see the appearance of undead creatures outside the territory, you can go out on your own." "Yes, Overlord." The 4-winged angels once again saluted respectfully. Then, they retreated and gathered in the center of the territory square, using prayer to restore their magical power and the energy their bodies needed. As for Lin Yu, he happily went to sort out the loot. The first thing he checked was the blueprints. This was also the thing he was most concerned about at the moment. As Lin Yu's gaze slowly swept over, the information of each blueprint appeared in his sight one by one. When he saw the last blueprint, Lin Yu's breath suddenly quickened. The excitement in his eyes couldn't be concealed at this moment. "I actually obtained the blueprint for the watchtower." Lin Yu was extremely excited, feeling as if he had once again received the favor of the goddess of luck. Territory construction blueprint. Type: Watchtower. Usage: 1 time. Usage restriction: Middle level village. Construction requirements: 1,000 units of wood, 2,000 units of stone, 500 units of iron ore. Special reminder: the watchtower is a special building that plays a crucial role in the defense of the territory. It provides a wide field of vision for your territory, making even hidden monsters in the darkness visible. I originally thought that I would have to conquer the burial ground of the Skeleton King Ryan or the 2-headed demon tribe to have a chance of obtaining the watchtower blueprint. I didn't expect it to drop now. Lin Yu looked at the blueprint in his hand, emitting a faint golden light, with an exceptionally radiant smile on his face. The goddess of luck has not abandoned her love for me. And of course, Angelia deserves credit for obtaining this blueprint. Lin Yu remembered clearly. This blueprint was given to him by Angelia. It came from the loot obtained by killing an 8th-level late-stage forest python. With this watchtower blueprint, my territory can be upgraded to a high-level village, unlocking the ability to summon the 6-winged angel. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately found a suitable location and chose to use the blueprint. Build the watchtower in this location. Yes, no. Special reminder: the watchtower can be built not only within the territory but also outside. However, if built outside the territory, it must be protected from enemy destruction. Build. Lin Yu chose yes. With only one watchtower blueprint, he naturally wanted to build it within his territory. When he had more watchtower blueprints in the future, he would choose to build them outside, providing a broader field of vision for his territory. As Lin Yu made his choice, the watchtower blueprint in his hand instantly turned into countless golden lights, merging into the vacant space before his eyes. After a moment, a tower nearly 30 meters tall appeared. The tower had 7 floors, constructed mainly of wood and stone, presenting a black-gray color. At the very top of the tower was a huge glowing sphere. It was unclear what material it was made of. Its light was gentle and not dazzling. Like pure moonlight, even if it remained lit, it would not disturb sleep. In addition, the illuminated area of the sphere was very extensive, not only covering his entire territory but also extending far into the outside world. Under its illumination, all the monsters that were originally hidden in the darkness were exposed. At this moment, Lin Yu was also gazing beyond his territory. He clearly saw the figures of undead monsters appearing near his territory. Among them were not only skeletal undead and ghouls but also swaying, rotten zombies with nauseating, putrid slime dripping from their bodies with each step. As time passed, The number of undead creatures continued to increase. In less than half an hour, this area outside the territory would be densely populated with undead creatures. The continuous extermination by the Angel Squad did not seem to reduce the number of undead creatures. It was as if the floating island would automatically refresh. Furthermore, these undead creatures were not affected by the illumination of the watchtower. They not only did not retreat into the darkness behind them but also slowly approached Lin Yu's territory. It seemed that the light source from the watchtower did not exist. Lin Yu had reason to suspect that the undead creatures could not see the light from the watchtower and still believed they were in the dark world. This should be another manifestation of the rules of the floating island. The light of the watchtower can only be seen by people within the territory, while the enemy cannot see it. It's like lighting up a map in a game world. People from our own faction can see it, while people from the enemy faction are still blind. This effect is very powerful. Lin Yu grinned. Then he opened the information panel of the territory to check. Sure enough, with the completion of the watchtower, all three conditions for upgrading the high-level village were already displayed as completed. This meant that his territory could be upgraded again. Without any hesitation, Lin Yu directly communicated with Myriad World's floating island to upgrade the territory. Do you confirm the territory upgrade? Yes, or no. Confirm. Lin Yu chose yes. With Lin Yu's choice, dazzling golden light emerged from all around the territory, enveloping the entire territory. This scene was exactly the same as when upgrading the middle-level village before. Soon, the territory began to tremble. Lin Yu looked up and saw that the fences and arrow towers surrounding the territory were moving as if being shifted, moving towards the distance. All the undead creatures, blocking the way, disappeared in groups. It wasn't until the boundary of the territory no longer expanded outward that the nearby undead creatures could be considered to have escaped a disaster. At the same time, the ground within the territory also stretched. Lin Yu stood still without moving an inch, but the wooden houses, including the Hall of the Overlord, the warehouse, the blacksmith shop, and other buildings, were getting farther away from him. This was because the territory had expanded. With each level upgrade of the territory, the area would expand many times over. For example, the difference in area between a city-level territory and a village-level territory was like night and day. Similarly, expanding the area also meant being able to build more buildings. Lin Yu felt that with the current area of his high-level village territory, he could build thousands of wooden houses without any crowding. Soon, the trembling of the territory ceased. The brilliant golden light also disappeared without a trace. The upgrade was complete, and a message from Myriad World's floating island timely appeared in Lin Yu's mind. Congratulations, Lin Yu Overlord. Your territory has successfully upgraded to a high-level village. You are one step closer to the unification of the floating island. Congratulations, you have received 300 glory points and 2,000 reputation points as rewards. I hope the Overlord will continue to work hard and establish your own kingdom-level territorial power. As expected, there is no world announcement for upgrading to a high-level village. Most likely, the world announcement and more rewards from the floating island will only appear when upgrading the first town or city. But, receiving glory points and reputation points as rewards is already very good. 300 points and 2,000 points. Such generous rewards were enough to satisfy Lin Yu. Immediately, Lin Yu returned to the Hall of the Overlord to check the summoning information template for the exclusive troops of the territory. Recruitment requirements: 2 Winged Angel, 50 gold coins recruitable. 4 Winged Angel, 200 gold coins recruitable. 6 Winged Angel, 1,000 gold coins recruitable. 8 Winged Angel, 5,000 gold coins unlocked for town-level territory. 10 Winged Angel, 20,000 gold coins unlocked for city-level territory. 12 Winged Angel, 100,000 gold coins. Looking at the summoning template in front of him, Lin Yu couldn't help but grin. His mood was unprecedentedly cheerful. Compared to the demigod level 2 Winged Angel and 4 Winged Angel, the 6 Winged Angel could truly be considered a god-level troop, as the growth potential of the 6 Winged Angel would reach the level of a true god. Now, the 6 Winged Angel was successfully unlocked. He could finally summon them. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.